Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Film End of 2020 review. It's been a totally normal year, and we're here to discuss our favourite things in film, TV, and gaming. I'm your host, Rob, and I'm joined by Sam, Matt, and Guff.
Hello.
I assume you are all fine.
Yes.
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 Yeah. All good.
All good.
Before we wanted to get into it, you wanted to do a little. You want to show people at home something, didn't you, Matt? I think. Did you with the beers?
Oh, the beers. I was
beers?
like, I've not. I thought you meant.
like,
I thought you were like, have I got anything prepped? I was like, I've not got anything prepped. What do you mean? Have I
Just
got
throw you under
anything?
the bus.
Yeah.
I think you have a slideshow, Matt.
Yeah, I
You
was like,
said you
what?
had.
Well, no,
he
'cause-
showed us his nips.
Yeah.
Start the year off as you mean to go on. Nips
Yeah.
out.
No, because I did like for the DC fandom one. I did like the whole trailer thing. I was like, was I supposed to do something like that? And I've just not done it. Yeah, we do. We all have these beers. Jaipur X. Guff, do you want to raise yours up as well? Courtesy of Rob for Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
I'll
Last
give
four in the shop.
last four in the shop. I'll give a quick bit of context that these we had Rob had one of these and I had a taste of one. How many years ago? 4, 3? How long have you been married?
Was it that long ago?
You've been
4.5.
talking about this beer for
Yeah,
ages.
like 4 years. To the point of where we weren't sure if it existed because we couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
I even ended
Googled
up,
it and everything.
I ended up tweeting Thornbridge Brewery to ask them, you've got to tell us, like, does this beer exist? And they're like, yeah, it exists. We just do it in really limited releases. And then Rob's gone and got us some because Jaipur is a very nice IPA. This is Jaipur X, which is an Imperial IPA, 10%. So, and we all remember it being very, very good. So let's.
Oh, yeah, you've not tasted. I forgot you just haven't tasted.
I have
Massive
tasted
now,
it. Yeah, these two haven't. Yeah.
I feel like I should have had a palate cleanser. I don't know what.
Get some
I'm
water.
not having
To be
it
fair,
right
I've just been chugging.
know.
I've just been chugging a Red Bull beforehand, so that's probably not a good palate cleanser.
I've had a coffee, so I suppose that's as close as I can get to a palate cleanser. But
The first sip will be the palate cleanser. It's like paint stripper. So.
Yeah. it's fine.
okay, good.
Well, Guff thought it was
that's fine.
100% when I gave it to him. He misread it. Like,
Yes, because it says 10.0%. So
Yeah.
I was like, 100%.
it's like it's just ethanol, just pure.
£100 a
Are
beer.
you pouring it? I'm having it right out, can.
I'm
Oh
having it
no,
out the
mate.
can. Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers,
everybody.
boys.
Cheers. Thanks, Rob.
Thank
Have
you,
I
Rob.
smashed my glass? I think I broke my glass of that. I just realised. I don't know where that glass is.
Smash both
Oh.
of mine. You into that?
Can we insert the sort of ethereal, sort of transcendent effect? I don't know why I'm saying can we add it in like it's going in post?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's live.
I think
That's amazing.
it is great.
That's
that.
really nice.
Also, whatever.
Oh.
Were you making a noise then? Because I think Discord just muted you. It went no.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing like a big old Halo-esque choir. I was
Discord
like,
was like, no, get rid of that.
Okay, let's get into it then.
Let's get into it.
So it's been a bit of a weird year, for film. A lot of films been delayed, pushed back,
Yeah.
put straight to streaming. That
I'm
probably
gonna say to sleep then.
Yeah.
just literally put to
I mean,
sleep.
Straight to
R.I.P.
Dead.
Um, And a lot of them may have made our lists, I guess. Like obviously Black Widow probably would have been there. Quiet Place 2. There's a lot of big films that
Yeah.
obviously we can't talk about. And I've not seen many films this year, even ones that have gone to like on demand.
Yeah.
I've just missed. Even ones like film festivals, you just don't like. I have a Cineworld Unlimited card, so I go and see pretty much everything anyway. So it's like 17 quid a month, so I see everything, and I don't really tend to miss anything that I don't want to miss.
Yeah.
Whereas this year, I've just missed a lot of the films that I feel I probably would have seen just out of like being in the cinema and seeing, oh, there's a poster for that. I'll go and see that next week.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. The Cineworld's dead now, right?
No.
Cineworld
It's
is
closed
dead.
until. So they closed down, but they're going to reopen. But they just couldn't.
okay, yeah.
They were just hemorrhaging money apparently. So
I
just
just
like
remember Alex, because Alex has one of those cards as well, and I remember him saying, he's just like, right, we're buzzing. There's whatever he was doing. It's kind of gone. But, oh, fair enough. I thought they stopped it altogether. It's just a pause they put on it at the minute.
yeah,
right,
they
right.
stopped like before lockdown to sort of
Yeah.
because no
Well,
one was going. They were like, there's no point in staying open basically. So
Well, even when it was
In a-
back
in a
open, I was a
coma.
bit. Yeah, I was a bit hesitant even when the cinemas were back open. I was a bit like, even
Yeah.
though like it's ridiculously safe, like because I know Matt had been a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, "I like it's just there's no way whatsoever." I just don't know. Probably I think I just had it in my head. I was like, "Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't be going many places really."
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't
it. and
see,
it's
I don't
just
see
kind of-
Tenet.
Yeah, I suppose it's that thing of going, I should probably limit how many places I'm going, but cinema is so safe. Yeah, because I was thinking about this, I was looking through my, because this year was the first year I've actually kept a list of things that I've watched throughout the year, because
Oh,
I know we always get
that's
to. I remember this time last year we were doing this podcast, and I was like, I can't remember anything I've watched. And then you guys were saying stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, that. And I just really bad at remembering what I've watched. So I was like, this year I'm going to keep a list, which is obviously nowhere near as extensive as I would have wanted it to be. But I think I saw 3 things in the cinema this year. I think I saw Parasite, 1917, and Tenet. I think they were
Was
like.
1917 this year?
I saw it
Right,
this year.
yeah.
but-
In UK it was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like right at the
It
end.
was right. It was like December 2019, January 2020. I think
Yeah.
it came out.
I
A
saw
lot of these things are UK release as well, so they're often a few weeks behind, aren't they?
Yeah,
Well, that was
yeah.
it. I did look up like the best films like UK release though, like of 2020.
Yeah.
Because I knew I'd obviously been to the cinema a couple of times at the start of the year, but I couldn't quite remember if 1917 was one of them. But
Yeah, it was one of the ones I saw this year in the cinema anyway. But sad times.
Sometimes. Should we go straight into best film then?
Yeah,
So we've
do
got
it.
a few categories kind of lined up. We'll start with best film because that's what we're about originally.
Called Real Film. But all we do is
Real
play
Film.
games nowadays.
I'll go off the order on the Twitch overlay. So Sam,
Yes.
what's your film of 2020?
If I'm just picking one of them, is this? Are we just all going in on one?
Go in on one, then we'll see how we.
Right,
You can
yeah.
name your honourable mentions.
Okay, fair. Right. Well, I had down first then Trial of the Chicago 7. I thought that was a good one.
I debated whacking that in to be
That
honest.
was my contender for.
Yeah.
So I'm glad
Yeah.
you said it because I've got another one I want to talk about. So
Oh, fair. Yeah, but no, it was. I think because I think I got to it late to the party. I think everyone else had already kind of watched it. And obviously knowing who it was like by and everything, I was like, it kind of really interested me to see sort of what style that film would be shot in. And I think off the back of like, I don't know, all the other sort of series out there about like sort of like how unjust the justice system in America can be, kind of thing. It was just a really good sort of stylized piece of what that time was sort of like, which I really enjoyed watching. And the acting in it's makes a much change from Borat's subsequent film, watching Baron Cohen in Donald Trump makeup running about. Which...
Well, that's it. He is genuinely a really good actor, I think, and it's almost a shame that. It's not a shame because he's like sort of prank stuff, like, but I don't like calling it prank stuff. But you know what I mean? Like his sort of expose stuff is still really funny, but
it's like highbrow prank, but lowbrow expose, isn't it? It's somewhere in the middle of like the two. I'm not sure quite.
That's it. He's such a great. I thought he was, and he was great in that. He was really good in the.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Eddie Redmayne as well, I thought was really good in that. Like he played something a bit different to what he usually does.
Yeah.
He's usually sort of quiet British sort of bumbling dude. Yeah. But he's really cool in this, especially sort of towards the end when, you know, I won't spoil it, but like certain, you know, sort of his character sort of comes out a little bit more, and it's really cool.
I love the kind of like, because obviously it's a trial of like 7 people who were involved in the riots in Chicago. Like I loved how they were all wanted the same thing, but all had different ways of going about it.
Yeah.
And like Eddie Redmayne was like, we go about it the peaceful, legal route way, and Sacha Baron Cohen's was more about like anarchy and kind of the different like warring factions within the same group of people who
they all
wanted the same outcome essentially, but were still very, very different people on kind of opposite ends of the same spectrum. It's really kind of interesting. There's a great. I think one of my favorite bits was that interaction between Sacha Baron Cohen and Eddie Redmayne when they're in like their HQ area. And he's basically calling him, you know, he's just basically having a massive go at him, saying you're just one of them. You're just because you agree with going through all the law and legal process of it. Because he's a lawyer, wasn't he? Was he a lawyer or something like that? I can't remember now.
I can't. Remember.
He was like a well like educated student kind of person,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Because he was part of like the
he's a
student
student,
society, wasn't he? So he's obviously like
that's
a very
right,
good school and
Wasn't
stuff.
he also close? Wasn't he also close to Kennedy? Because wasn't that a thing that he said to him? Because he said like he was. Did he say that he was a pallbearer at the funeral? Because he made a joke about Kennedy, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
His parents got suspended,
Oh,
so. And I think he says I was a pallbearer or something like that. So he must have been close, I'm assuming, to the Kennedys in some way as well.
Fair.
Which is interesting to think like that's sort of, you know, he was a bit of an activist as well, if that is the case, if that is right.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliantly told, and obviously Sorkin's just so well at good at writing dialogue, and like it's a room in basically one or two locations, filming one or two locations that just doesn't really ever feel slow or kind of ponderous.
I think one of my favorite bits with that is sort of like the bit where it's sort of like quite a fast paced. I can't remember who's being questioned. I think it might have been the female sort of agent. I think she gets, without giving too much away for anyone who hasn't watched it, but they're interviewing her, and then it's got the sort of like fast-paced sort of music in the background, and it's sort of the idea of them like walking through the city and then getting to the actual place and confronting the police for the first time. Yeah, like that whole shot and like that whole scene like is shot the way it like cuts between the two, and like the way the music's going as well. It's just really, really. I don't think it was anything like groundbreaking, but it was just a really well put together scene. I remember, and like that sticks out in my head when I think about it. Really
good. I was gonna say it's really. Genuinely surprised at how good this was. I think because I know obviously Sorkin's like best known for his writing and stuff, and the films that he's written are generally really well critically acclaimed. But I think this is only his second film he's directed, because he did Molly's Game, which was, I quite liked it. I wasn't blown away by it, but this is like a really next level step up, I think. For me. Anything else to say, Sam, on your film?
No, give it a watch.
Give it a watch
on Netflix.
Honorable. Wait, did we not? Did you do honorables now, or do you want them later?
I think do it at the end, because someone might mention one.
I'll say what I was thinking of doing. It's just one other, but I'll move on to whoever's next.
Matt,
I think my film of 2020 is probably one of the first things I saw was Parasite. Like one of the only things I saw in the cinema, and we rewatched it recently for a film club that we did on here, and watching it a second time, I did realise this is a incredible film that I could watch, even though it's quite bleak in places, watch like over and over again. I think like the first time I watched it, I was like, it was really good. Like watching it a second time, it's like one of those things that you like watch a film, you go, I really enjoyed that, but then not that I don't like people that do this, but sometimes people watch a film and go, oh yeah, it's my favourite film of all time, but I've only seen it that one time. I'm like, I never want to rate a film based on one viewing, whereas like watching it a second time, I can then feel like I can go, okay, I know where that's kind of going to be now. And like, as soon as I watched Parasite the second time, I was like, I think that's my like film of the year. Like, not only do I think it's a really great, well-told film that mixes genre kind of freely but not jarringly at all throughout the whole film, I think it is entertaining as well. Like, it is a film I will, because some films you go, that's a great film, but I'm never going to watch it ever again. This isn't like one of those films. Like, it's a great film, but I'll keep going back to it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it was probably mine. It was mine until I thought probably someone else.
Until you just said it then, and now I'm scrambling for another one.
I do have other
now
ones.
I'm googling the best films of 20 years.
No, I did.
Wait,
it was
no, everyone did this.
But no, I was like, oh god, my camera's zoomed in. Sorry, I don't know if that's fucked everything up. But I was trying to just get myself in focus.
I was going to say, were you trying to make emphasis? You were like zooming it in on yourself, like, listen here.
Just trying to get in focus.
Just trying to punch in.
I was planning on doing Parasite. No, I am. No, but that was it. Like I thought it was an absolute triumph. I thought it was an absolute, and again, like that was one of the reasons I loved it so much. It's like the balance of genre, like something that I feel like it just handled it so damn well, and it was so seamless. Like I think we talked about it in our Real Film Club episode, but the scene where it goes from them in the house and then they get the knock at the door and then they go down to the basement, that goes from like, I mean, it becomes like psychological thriller at that point, and it becomes a horror as well. Like when they first go down into the basement, it's like horror elements, and it's like, and then it's really funny at times as well. Like it just blends. So, I mean, horror and comedy normally go hand in hand, but in a wacky sense. But that was like hand in hand in such a more subtle, grounded way that I can't really think of any other film that's done that. I know it mixes other genres as well as as well, but like especially for horror comedy, like usually you think about your Sam Raimis and things like that, where it's just a bit weird and wild. But they really blend those two together in, and I think they're for me the most prominent genres in this. But it's stunning. Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
a really good looking film.
Yeah, it's beautifully shot. But the number of like layers in that film as well, where the kind of the meaning of the title Parasite just kind of keeps evolving throughout the film. It's just really clever.
Yeah, I think it's one of them as well that like there's nothing woke about that winning best film at the Oscars. Do you know what I mean? I'm glad that hasn't really been a thing thrown around, because everyone that has actually watched it has gone, yeah, do you know what? That's like a really good film. Fair play. Like, it wasn't really that big of a discussion about it being like, oh, the Oscars are getting woke, giving, you know, a foreign language film the best Oscar for the first time ever. People have just gone, yeah, this is a great film that deserves to have won this award.
Most of them can't read. Most of them can't read, so they wouldn't have watched it.
Well,
so, that's why they not got a point.
But you know what? If anything, I think I was going to watch that film anyway once I saw how much buzz it was getting, and I remember Googling that night sort of when it was out, and I think because me and you obviously watched it together
after Big Bong.
Big Bong was the one that sold it for us. I think he sold it for me anyway when he was like, I want to be drinking tonight, and we're like, okay, yeah.
Oh wait, where's my graphic of Big? You guys keep going. I'm going to get my graphic of Big Bong on the screen.
Get Bong up.
Don't get the Big Bong on this.
Get the Bong out. Get the bong out.
Show me your bong.
It's not a party without a bong.
As long as it's not bongo, then we'll be fine. Just don't put it on stream. We'll get taken down. I've still yet to see Parasite. I know how good it is and how much acclaim it's got. I still haven't.
It's on Prime. It's on Prime.
I know it is. Wait, I thought it's pay on Prime.
No, it is pay on Prime.
No,
you can borrow my login for Prime. You can watch it.
I'll be back in a bit. See you in a bit.
Yeah. I was going to say, please turn your camera off.
Guff, what's your scrambling choice for your film of the year?
I did plan this. I promise. This is the only podcast I've planned. I promise.
Mean Girls. Oh no, that wasn't this year. Oh no, I can't think of anything.
I was torn between two, and so one will be an honorable
Rise of Skywalker wasn't out this year, mate.
No.
No, it was between Invisible Man, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, I've not seen. Yeah.
That was really quite good. But I think one that sort of had a lot of talk about it earlier on in the year, and it was a straight to Netflix one. But I really liked Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. I really, I mean, again, like I think Parasite is my favorite film of the year. Don't get me wrong, but I thought, well, we've talked about it on the podcast, so how much more can I say about it?
Yeah.
But Matt's lazy, so he did it as well. But to be fair, if I'd known 1917, I probably would have said that as well. But I think again, we've talked about these a few times, but Extraction, I think, has been sort of almost forgotten a little bit over the year because of like it just being like a sort of standard action film, but I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like, I think it was like, we're getting a new quality of action film now with like, your John Wick type films coming out, and like the say what you will about John Wick in general.
Can I change my answer to all the John Wick films? That's my favorite bit of 2020.
Oh, Potatoes in the chat. How goes it?
Hello,
good to see you, Potato. How are you doing?
Thank you for joining us.
Sorry, I thought someone else would say something then. I took a big step.
I'm still sorting.
There was like a bit of dead air there.
I'm sorting Bong out, so.
I was reminding myself. Of what Extraction was, because I think I've watched it.
It's Russo Brothers produced, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. So like, we're just talking about our favorite film of the year, Potato. Hop in with any stuff you want to say. If you have a favorite film as well, tell us. I imagine like that goes to everyone in chat. If you have a favorite film,
yeah, I was going to say that actually. Everyone, jump in the chat. Tell us what your favorite things of the year are.
But yeah, Extraction. I thought it was so. It's this sort of it's about. I thought it was a really interesting concept because for anyone who doesn't know, it's about sort of mobster in Mumbai. I think it is. It's India, but he's basically a mobster who is at war with another mobster, and he's in prison. And his son is kidnapped by his enemy, and he hires this sort of like mercenary team who are all about, extracting individuals and things like that. Hence, Extraction.
I get the title now.
Now you see, it's coming together. But Chris Hemsworth is like the leader of this sort of team, if you will, and it's really good. Like I thought it was really well acted between Chris Hemsworth, and he plays like, considering Thor is like this, big bolsterous sort of comedy person now, I suppose, like comedy character. He plays like a bit of like a down and out, tortured sort of mercenary, and it was quite interesting seeing him in that role. But what I really liked about it is that they used a lot of like native Indian actors, because I think as well, like with it being a Hollywood based film, I think it's easy to go, well, who in Hollywood is of Indian descent? So like you think of like your stars that you may have seen in other films. And I think Hollywood is quite notorious for that, especially with like stereotyping and things like that. But it was cool to see that they went to India and was like, what Indian talent is out there and like who's really good. And there's a guy in it that I would say is sort of like Chris Hemsworth parallel in the film, and he's like in sort of ex-military sort of Indian soldier, and he's brilliant in that. And it was one of those films where I was like, I would like, as much as like I'm sort of sick of every time I hear there's a spin-off of a franchise that did well, or you know, something like that, I'm like, I would love to see a spin-off of him, because again it sort of follows that John Wick route of going, how do we tell this in like a really madcap way and like make it really packed full of action but also like realistic. And I suppose like Punisher did it as well, where it's the idea of like they actually train like the actors on how to hold weapons like the military would, rather than just being like, hold this gun, shoot
Hold this
it.
gun and look cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. While it feels like there's a lot more care going into action films like that now, and you know, considering it is just a popcorn flick, I thought it was really good. I thought it was like a bit heavier than normal. I thought it wasn't as sort of vapid as a lot of action films can be, but it still was packed full of like explosions and gunshots and car chases. Really cool shots as well. Like there's a car chase scene that looks like it's all done in one shot, and it's really well done. But I genuinely think that was like a bit of a, I know everyone was talking about it at the time, but it feels like it's gone a bit by the wayside. But I really enjoyed that for just like a standard little action film. I couldn't recommend it more if that's what you're into. It was really fun.
Oh yeah, I meant to watch that because it kept coming up on my Netflix, and I just didn't. And now it stopped coming up, so I was just like, oh, well, I'm not gonna watch it now.
Yeah,
I will watch that though.
Yeah.
My best film is one that I watched this year, 2021, but it was out last year, and it's a bit of a
piss take. No, piss take. He's broke some rules.
It's a film from 2020.
Is it?
What are you going to talk about in next year's podcast?
Yeah,
films from 2021. Whenever I watch them.
Oh, here he is. I presume that is the James Grady, who's just given us a follow.
Bloody hell!
He's the old man's figured out Twitch. I hope it is you.
His full name, James Pornhub Grady 90.
Yeah. We're not just slugging off. He's figured out Twitch. He's always told me he doesn't do Twitch because he's an old man, but he's figured it out.
He's there for the 2020. He's there for the 2020 film discussion.
No,
good on you, Grady. Good to see you, mate.
He's just seen Bong in the corner and gone, "Oh yeah, get me in."
I'm here for it. I'm here for Bong.
He's just upset he's not filming it. That's what he's sad about.
Yeah.
I'm upset he's not filming it. I wish we could all be doing this.
Hey, we also got a follow from Abused Black Man Rip.
Is it Black Man R.I.P.?
R.I.P. maybe. Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, that's not
hopefully.
Heavy name.
Yeah.
Thank you for the follow anyway. Whatever the we're going to call
maybe
you Abused.
Edit that out.
Thank you for the follow. It is me, fellas. He says. What are your put in the chat, Grady? Films, TV, games of the year. Let us know. But yeah,
okay.
What we're talking about? Oh yeah, Rob, what's yours?
My film that I keep trying to start talking about, and I keep getting interrupted.
Oh, I'm not abused. Don't worry, sexy boys.
Okay,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing all right, abused, it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so my film was one that came to Apple TV actually, and went a little bit under the radar. It's called On the Rocks. So it's a Sofia Coppola film. Who also did Lost in Translation?
Oh, it's just the Rashida Jones one.
Rashida Jones and Bill Murray.
Yeah, I wanted to watch this.
It's really it's not the best film of the year, right? I'm not going to say it's the best film of the year, but it's really, really nice, and it's very similar to Lost in Translation. It's like an older man, younger woman kind of relationship. She's actually his daughter in it, so it's not like there's no kind of relationshipy vibes in it. But it's just such a really lovely like character study about him and his relationships and his relationship with her mum. And then also her relationship with her husband at the moment. And I don't really want to say what the plot is because it's kind of surprising. But it's really about like different people at different kind of points in their lives and like people's insecurities in their relationships and people sort of at crossroads. And kind of how people it's one of the things that how people who don't communicate can kind of come to different conclusions about the same event. Okay. And it's kind of really interesting. It's a really, really interesting kind of character study of these two people. And Bill Murray kind of plays this basically plays Bill Murray. Like he is, like the stories of Bill Murray, he goes up to people in a thing, takes a chip off them and says, no one's going to believe it. He's basically that version of Bill Murray, right?
Brilliant.
So he's sort of this old kind of he is misogynistic. He'll kind of flirt with every woman. Like they go out quite a lot, like as a duo, because her husband works quite a lot. So most of the film is focused on them two going out and doing stuff together. And he'll flirt with everyone, like all the women, and then like it's kind of laughed off like the whole film. But then it kind of does come back around and be like, "You're actually probably a bit of a dickhead, mate. Probably stop doing this."
Yeah.
But there's just so many amazing moments where he just like charms his way out of every situation, and she's just sort of sat there like, "How the fuck can you do this?" Like, it's Their chemistry is just amazing. It's so good.
I remember seeing the trailer, but it's interesting. It said like, I know we've got like some stuff in the chat, so I'm sure we'll go through it in a second. But,
Yeah.
If we do,
hello
we do
hello
chat at
to
the
everyone
end
in chat.
of the segments.
Yeah,
We'll
do
a
chat at the
segment,
end of the
yeah.
segment. Yeah.
Yeah, but hello everyone in chat. But yeah, I saw the trailer for it, but it's interesting you said that like, you won't give too much away, but I feel like the trailer does give quite a lot away, so I would recommend to anyone not to watch it if you are interested in the film, because I watched the trailer and I was like, I think that gives quite a lot away. But I mean, you might say otherwise, Rob.
I thought you were going to say then, don't watch the film if you watch the trailer. You've already watched it. Don't bother. Just, I was be honest.
Don't watch the film because it's a spoiler. No, I really want to watch it, but I wasn't sure. Like the trailer makes it look like it could either be really good or really shit. So I was a bit like, oh.
Yeah.
So I think I was just never like really compelled
really
to watch
good.
it. I do really, I really like the idea of it though.
It's really kind of it's kind of weirdly reassuring as well, because it kind of plays on all these sort of negative relationship tropes.
Because it means you can be a misogynist, and that's exactly what you wanted to do.
Well, I'd say the thing
you can do it.
There's hope for us yet.
It plays on a lot of these like negative kind of relationship tropes that you're often shown in films that say, "Oh, this person's obviously a bad person," and it kind of reassures you that just because someone acts in a certain way doesn't mean they're a bad person, or anything like that. It's really, really good, and it's a really nice film without being kind of overly sentimental, or kind of cheap.
Because I think,
really, really good.
Lost in Translation is like one of my favorite films. I've not watched it in
it's
years.
Very
actually.
similar.
I've never seen it.
I watched Lost in Translation so much at university. I don't know why, but it was just like one of my go-to films.
Lost.
Yeah, I was Lost.
And you were like, oh yeah.
Probably, yeah. It was like that and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. I watched so much of it at university.
Yes.
But I've not watched it since. I really want to go
mean?
back. I think it's probably one of those films that I watched so much that now I'm worried to go back to it in case I was just being like an edgy film student and being like, oh yeah, Lost in Translation is so good, and now I'll watch it and go, oh, it's not as good as it. It's not as good.
It's very similar to Lost in Translation in that kind of aspect of not really anything happens. It's just people's reaction to things kind of happening around them. It's that's my Bill Murray's basically the same character.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That's the one where Tom Hanks is stuck in an airport, right?
Yeah. That's the one I always confuse it with. What's that one called again?
Everyone does. I don't know why.
Bill Murray
Terminal it's called.
Bill Murray plays Tom Hanks in an airport.
I'd watch that film.
Yeah, I love The Terminal. I thought it was really fun.
Let's do some honorable mentions before we get to the chat. I'll run through the chat after this. So I'd on my list Chicago 7 and Parasite, which we both talked about, and then I also had David Copperfield, the Amanda Iannucci theme. Really, really good. Just again, like just a really good.
Is that the one that's like the untold history of David Copperfield?
Something like that. It's Dev Patel.
Yeah, it's Dev Patel.
Dev Patel. Good cast.
Yeah.
And I can't remember any of their names.
I really wanted to watch that.
The guy who was Doctor Who, the old man who was Doctor Who. The thick of it.
John
What's his name?
No.
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi. Really lovely film. I'd recommend that to anyone. Like whatever age, whatever film you like, you'll love that film. It's just so much fun.
That's one of them I missed because of COVID, because I was going to go and watch it, and then everything was kind of happening. And it was like, ooh, we're all going to die, so I'm going to stay inside.
It's a big cast.
Yeah. I really want to watch that. Is that on Prime as well? It's on something.
It is on Prime at the moment,
Ooh, very nice, very nice.
I might watch that tonight if I've got
Any
time.
more quick honourable mentions?
I mean, I said Invisible Man. That was like the only other one I had, but again, like really good little horror film. More of a thriller, I think, but shocking. Like genuine. At times, I was genuinely like, I had my sort of like hand over my mouth. I was like, oh shit! Like genuinely, really, really, really liked that. And I almost thought, like, without giving too much weight, I thought it's like, I wonder if this started out as a different type of horror film, maybe like a sort of ghost film, but like especially with the premise. You know, again, don't want to give too much away, but like, I was like, I wonder if this was a ghost film originally when they bought the script off someone. And then they decided, actually, this would go really well with the story of the Invisible Man and be a nice twist to that. It was really good. Really recommend it for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's on Now TV, I think, at the moment.
Cool. My honorable mention is one that Potatoes mentioned in chat. Is Soul, the new Disney Pixar one?
That was going to be mine as well.
We watched that on Christmas Day. I think that's
it's
a
a good watch,
brilliant
that.
little film. Especially, I think,
Very excited to watch that.
especially if I think if you're a certain age and a creative person, I think it's definitely a really kind of powerful
it is.
film. I honestly don't know what kids are getting
If
out
you're
of
a
that film.
teacher as well.
I
If you're a
don't
teacher, it resonates even more.
I don't know what kids are getting out of that film at all. Really, to be honest with you, like
It looks good. It looks nice.
well, yeah. Apart from that, like it's very grown up in its themes and what it explores and stuff like that. Like it's not like Inside Out where it's a bit like, oh, growing up and trying to handle your emotions. This is like being a certain age and not having success in something you're passionate about yet. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of really interesting, but
I quite like the idea that Disney are doing this though. Like they're sort of going, because I think as well, it's that thing of they seem to really appreciate the fact that, and maybe it's because it is like at home. I mean, I don't think it was planned to be at home, so maybe that's not the right thinking. But like the idea that at least they're going, we have a massive grown up audience who still enjoy watching our films.
Oh, yeah.
So to make something that's more geared towards that, I think is fine every now and again. I think
I'm so happy they made it. I loved it. I really want to watch it again pretty soon.
Yeah,
we enjoyed it a lot. We enjoyed it. Anything else, or should we just jump to chat?
Let's jump into chat. There's so much chat going on.
I'll run through it, chat. Happy New Year, guys. It's me, fellas. Yeah, we got it, Grady. Thoughts on Cyberpunk? We're not on the game section, mate. Wait for that. None of us have played it.
None of us have played it.
Yeah, none of us have played it.
Ed, the only 2020 is Enola Holmes. Absolutely loved it. I kind of want to watch that.
I really wanted to watch it. I've got it on my list.
But I can't really bring myself to do it. I don't know why. So it's very Wes Anderson, which has got me more interested, actually.
Yeah, that's got me very interested.
Cavill for a Holmes film. That'd be quite cool. Did you guys watch Tiger King? That might be in the next section.
Yeah, we're moving on to TV. I did watch Tiger King.
Potato says Soul, pretty good, but felt like I'd already seen it. I kind of get that with a lot of Pixar films, to be honest. I feel like
I think Soul.
But I still enjoyed it.
I think Soul was probably my favourite Pixar film. I put it out there.
You literally just said you don't like doing that.
But honestly, that's how like one of the scenes just connected with me so much. I was like, that's the biggest emotional connection I've had to like a Pixar film.
Is the bit where he talks to his cat?
Yeah.
Stop! No spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Talking to a cat. That's what it is.
The cat's on all the posters. You know he's going to talk to the cat.
Yeah. What do you think he's doing with it? It's a Pixar film.
It's basically just ripping off inside Louis Davis.
It kills the cat.
Exactly. Basically.
It kills.
Hat says, I really enjoyed I'm Thinking of Ending Things. One of those films I kept thinking about for days later. Because it's fucking mad. Absolutely mad film.
You're trying to figure out what was happening.
Yes. I would recommend everyone watches it, to be honest, because it is mad.
What's that on? Is that on something?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah. It's Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad and the girl from the Wild Rose. Is it Wild Rose? That's the country singer.
Oh, yeah.
I've not seen the film. I know what you mean.
That's a really good film.
That's a good film. I watched this year.
Hat says because it starts with ScarJo wearing see-through knickers. That's obviously a Lost in Translation reference.
Right.
Ed says Lost in Translation is the most melancholy feel-good film out there. I agree.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's like, how does it feel good? But it kind of does make you feel good. It's so
just
weird.
People being people, isn't it?
It's so weird.
It's Red Against Ola. Ola to you.
Hello, Red.
Hola.
And Bug as well. Bug's here. Says Happy New Year.
Oh, hello, Bug.
I'm running through it. I'm running through in order. Grady. I'm the only one who thought the Mandalorian season was very overrated. No, probably not.
No, he says
there's no spoilers.
No spoilers. Because I'm only on episode 5 of season 1. No spoilers here.
We're not a TV one yet.
I mean, we're not spoiling anything, actually.
Potato thought it was really good. Hello, Bug. Happy New Year to you as well. Ham says, I barely watched a movie this year, which has been the whole lockdown. Binge all the things we started, I never finished. Better Call Saul, that's going to come up. Parks and Rec, Bob's Burgers. Jazz appeals to all, surely. I don't know what that means.
I don't know, it's your wife. Sort her out.
No, sorry. Quick thing. Speaking of soul and jazz, my soul was crushed at a job I had not long ago. Where I remember, I was like, oh, nice, some chill jazz vibes. Like we used to go to pick our playlist at work, and the boss came in. He was like, "What the fuck is this you're playing?" And I was like, "It's jazz." He was like, "Fucking turn it off." And I was like, "All right." He's like, "Put the top 50 on." I was like,
"Do you think you're Ryan Gosling in La La Land?" And everyone,
I just like jazz, man. I was like, we listen to the top fucking 50 every day.
This is basically La La Land. You don't need to watch the film anymore, people. If you've not watched it, this is basically it.
Grady says Soul has nothing on Coco. Bug also says Coco is
agreed.
amazing.
Coco is
I've
good.
not seen either of them. I want to watch Coco.
That's great.
Soul's better.
Ed says favorite Pixar film. Pixar film has to be a toss-up between WALL-E and Finding Nemo.
I've not
Never seen
WALL-E.
WALL-E.
Yeah, I've
Wall-E's
not.
great. Oh,
yeah.
Wall-E's great.
I might do a Pixar week, just me like, watching
just
all the
do it.
Pixar films.
Live stream, you just doing Pixar.
just crying for about 20 minutes. I was like, oh god,
And then you get to Cars, and you're just like, this isn't that deep. just
I'm just like, good show.
You're just like, this is the greatest film I've ever seen.
I want to be a car.
Ham says, anyone watch Mulan?
No, I didn't
No.
bother. Even though now it's free.
yeah, I might watch it now.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it now. It's free at some point. Yeah.
There was a lot of
I quite like the look of that, but then there was a lot of backlash on them all being really bad people. So
there was a lot of problematic
I saw.
cultural stuff that very
And
much
Ham
put me
said-
off that film. And
Oh.
Rob's crashed.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Well, that's a great. Can I screenshot?
That was a good
Ah,
freeze frame,
let's
that.
screenshot the face he pulled.
Is he
Stall.
Stall.
You're back, but you're a bit stuttery.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Is it snowing where you guys are? Just
How's the weather
yeah,
out
the
there?
weather's snowing.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
no,
weird
I
stuff
don't
in
want to
Mulan.
watch it on principle, but
Yeah,
I've heard from like a film perspective, it's shite as well though. Like I've heard from like it's just not very good as a film. Like I mean, aside from all the problematic stuff, I watched a review that was like, we could talk for days about the stuff why it's problematic, but I'm just going to try and stick to like the review of the film.
like
and we
actually
were like, it's not
objective.
good. So I was like, okay, but
It's not real.
yeah.
Bug says Mando is the best Star Wars to ever Star Wars. So
I think that's very high up.
I've watched 5 episodes.
We are gonna have to
I'm
speed up.
Well into it. We are. Let's go.
yeah, we're gonna have to speed up. No interrupting, please.
Unless Guff wants to push
best
his
TV.
live stream.
I mean, I literally just said no interrupting. I just said it.
This is going to be a fun for the rest of the podcast, isn't it? Everyone's going to have a great time.
I'm trying to stop the segues and get to the actual stuff that we're doing. We've been going 40 minutes. We've only done one category out of 7 or 8.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah. What do you think about your
I don't
day,
mind
Matt?
pushing.
If you got
I
nothing to say, don't say it.
I'm just saying for anyone again. I'm pushing my stream a bit back if we need to because I'm on it anyway. So I might,
Yeah, let's get some more beers in. Let's get some more
push
beers
the
in.
stream back.
We did just get a follow. Thank you very much. L3
thank
Xandra.
you.
You got to thank the followers, man. That's not a tangent. Come on, dude.
Do the chat at the end. I know I'm trying to make it concise, all the chat to one thing, and then we can just do what we're doing without constant segues all the way through it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Segues.
Come on, then. Let's go.
Best TV. Come for the arguments, yeah. Best TV of 2020. I've watched a lot of TV this year because there's been a lot more TV than films, and
Yeah.
you don't have to leave your house to watch TV. So, yeah, I guess that's why. There's been a lot of good stuff, I think. This year. I think it's been really good TV, yeah.
It has. TV is on the up, man.
Should we go in the
TV's
same order?
yeah.
Properly on the up.
Sam, do you want to start with TV? I'm just going to I'm going to try and turn off some Wi-Fi using devices because I'm cutting out.
Okay.
He means go.
Yeah.
Go.
He means go and tell Hat to turn off her phone in the other room.
That's exactly what I'm going to say.
Stop playing Overcooked, Matt. Stop it. Shit, like, we're not doing it again.
I've gone dead like low res now, which is
Yeah,
a bit
you have,
annoying.
actually.
I don't know why.
Is anyone else?
You just look
I
like
mean,
you just look
my-
like 3 pixels now.
I've turned into 8-bit guff.
Yeah.
This is what I look like. This is what I look like on a Sega Mega Drive.
No, quick! Start talking. Start, Sam. Go. He's coming back. Go.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, that's
sorry.
why that
Oh,
was-
very good choice, Sam.
Yeah,
very
that
good
was a great
choice.
choice. Great
That
choice.
was my favourite season of TV. Well, I didn't want to go for something that was just. I wanted something new that came out this
Yeah.
this year. So I didn't really start thinking about any. There's like second season because there were a lot of things that had extra like other seasons which are really good. Oh, we flipped.
Oh.
Guff's just gone now.
Oh, he's back.
Oh no, he's back in the same spot.
Sorry. Has that fucked the layout part?
It's not now. No, it did for a second.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's why I was basically having a toss up between. Well, actually no, because I'm basically up to the last episode, which I haven't watched, so no spoilers, please. But I really like the Queen's Gambit. I thought that was a good watch. I'm currently watching it at the minute, but I know it came out last year, so. Yeah, I thought that was good. Like, I don't know, it speaks to the young Sam in me who used to play chess.
He was a big old nerd.
Chess club when I was 10. Yeah. So, but no, yeah, I thought it was just really good. Like the story that's being told at the minute, obviously, is one of those where it's just like it's only ever properly gets revealed probably like right at the end. Sort of thing. But then again, I don't know because I haven't seen the last episode, so don't tell me.
Yeah,
but I just thought it was quite a good character piece about someone struggling with some of their inner demons and also playing a bit of chess.
Yeah, it's managed to make chess really exciting, doesn't it? Like I'm a good few episodes in, and yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far. I need to finish it, but it was one of my mentions.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was and the acting in it's pretty good. Like what else is what's she called?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
She was in
The Witch.
She was in what's the James McAvoy
Her break was
one
The Witch, wasn't it?
that I hate. What's it called?
Split.
Oh yeah, that's why. Okay.
She's good in that. I think
they've moved her onto the thumbnail for Peaky Blinders now as well. I think because Queen's Gambit did pretty well. Yeah. I think so.
She was in New Mutants
Apparently
as well.
So yeah.
That came out, didn't it? That's on Amazon now, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh Jesus!
That is a film that came out.
We can talk about that later, I guess.
Anya is bae. I appreciate that. I know we're saving chat, but Anya is bae. I believe that very much so.
I've no control, no respect for the host.
Yeah, but no, that was mine. Honorable mentions after.
Sorry, am I like really jittery? Because like the sound is really jittery from you lot.
Your voice is okay,
but am I really jittery?
You're out of sync, and you are like interrupting a bit because I think it's coming through late on you.
Fuck.
I mean, that doesn't change. That's not really different from the norm, is it? So I mean, let's just,
yeah, I don't know if that's a delay thing or just a me thing. I'm not sure.
Done him.
Absolutely done him. Can we get some Fs in the chat for Guff?
Matt, you've seen Queen's Gambit? What's your show of 2020?
My show of 2020 is Normal People. That was on BBC. That's based on a book. I do have the book. Thank you for all the Fs. Laura's lent me the book, but I've not read it yet. But it's about like just like these two Irish people and like their relationship over a number of years from like high school through to like after university and stuff. And it's like one of the most emotional like films, like TV series. Like you can't describe it to people. It doesn't sound that good, but like the acting and the writing's just so like real and powerful. And I was really, really like, it was one of them that even though it was kind of punishing to watch, because like every episode you're just like, oh my god, I feel like emotionally exhausted having watched that. You would then like want to watch the next episode. It was like this weird thing of going, this is really hard to watch, but also I want to keep binging it. But like, yeah, it's definitely the thing that stuck out for me like the most out of everything like I've watched this year. And I've like, as Rob was saying, there's been a lot of TV this year. I've watched quite a lot of TV, but that is like, in terms of quality, in terms of acting and writing, is like for me head and shoulders above like most of the things this year. But I take it none of you have seen that, so I can't imagine there's much else to say on it. It's on iPlayer. Like just
it's iPlayer, isn't it?
Go and watch it. It's kind of that thing with just two people and their relationship and their interactions, and it is kind of like dramatic and in terms of the sense that they're kind of together, then they're not, and there's all these issues keeping them apart. But it never feels like false or dramatized or overplayed for the sake of drama. It feels very like realistic, and couples like that who you kind of go, oh, they would be together, but their lives are just in two different places and stuff. I thought it was just really, really good. So I'd suggest anyone go and watch it on iPlayer.
What iPlayer?
Yeah, iPlayer. Okay, yeah.
Guff, what was your choice?
I don't know if I'm a bit delayed, by the way. Sorry. So if I am, apologies. But mine was Queen's Gambit, and then but only because I think it was the most recent thing that I watched that I was really like engaged with. And again, like sort of everything that Sam said, where I was just like, yeah, this is fantastic. But I have got some honorable mentions, of course, as well. But I think my favorite series, after sort of like thinking about it, was Lovecraft Country. I thought it was absolutely triumphant. I thought it was incredible. It was this. It's the only show I've wrote notes for. It's the only thing of this list today I've wrote notes for because it's so good. But yeah, it was like an incredible story. It's like weird, wacky, but then like grounded because it's set in like the 60s, I think it is. So it's, but like for anyone who doesn't know, like Lovecraft Country, they refer to it, and I don't know if it's a common reference, but it's a really, really notoriously racist part of the South because it's set in the South of America. But it's a really notorious, like, whether it's because H.P. Lovecraft came from there, I don't know. But obviously H.P. Lovecraft
and was a racist.
wrote the Cthulhu sort of stories and stuff, but was a racist. Yeah, it was quite notoriously racist. But yeah, it's I thought like to be, you know, it was so thought provoking, especially considering everything that happened this year surrounding the BLM movement and everything like that. To see this series sort of talk about race and like the treatment of like authorities and just like the white community in general towards the black community in America was just so harrowing. Like it's so like it is a gut-wrenching show in terms of some of the gore that happens and some of like the visual stuff, but it is so gut-wrenching from like some of the like lack of humanity you see because of the subject matter. And it's this incredible weird anthological series that's still set in the same narrative. So like without giving too much away, like the first 2 episodes sort of explore one element of sci-fi, and then this 3rd episode it's like, oh, here's a different element of sci-fi supernatural stuff, and you're like, oh, so we're going here. And I genuinely was like, oh, it's going to be like a bit of an anthology then, but it follows this singular narrative all the way to the end that's just fantastic. And there's a particular episode, it's like every episode demands, and I think it's got one of the greatest opening sequences of any show I've seen, because it sort of sets you up of going, this is kind of what you're going to get throughout the series. There's this mental madcap thing, but it has this, every week it sort of demands a little bit more that you suspend your disbelief. Like it's a little bit more sort of demanding that you just go along for the ride. And there's a particular episode that is just mental, but then it has a really human story at the heart of it, and like really modern thinking behind it. And it's about self-worth and self-love, but it's in the sort of frame of this mad episode, like with mad sci-fi shit. But then the next episode explores that whole self-love and self-worth theme and on the other side of it, and almost looks at it in a negative light. It's such a human show and such a incredible show about relationships and people, and especially like sort of tolerances of certain lifestyles in that sort of era, all on a sci-fi backdrop. Like it's madness, and I think it's genuinely phenomenal. I think it's produced by J.J. Abrams and Jordan Peele, and for anyone who's watched any of other Jordan Peele work, you can tell like it feels so much like not only in the sort of subject matter but also like the design of it as well. Like I thought it was absolutely phenomenal, and yeah, one of the most batshit opening sequences I've ever seen. But I think it is by far the best show that I've watched this year. I couldn't recommend it to anyone enough. I could talk about it for ages.
What's that on? Is that on?
That's on Now TV, because it's broadcasting on Sky over here, but I think I don't know if it's an ABC or an HBO show. I can't remember. I couldn't tell you exactly where it comes from in America. I think it's AMC, but not sure. But yeah, it's Sky over here, so Now TV it's on. Yeah,
amazing, sweet.
Yeah, I meant to watch that actually, but I never really actually got round to it.
There's too much stuff. I don't know why. Too much stuff.
There's too much stuff. So I'm gonna go for one that came out this year. I think there's a lot of really good TV, and I think like Sam, like if it's just one season out this year, I'm gonna maybe leave it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Like I was gonna go for Better Call Saul because I'm gonna keep banging that drum until
everybody's watched it.
People bang on it. Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad. Everybody watch Better. It's better. It's so much better. And Breaking Bad was good. I don't dislike Breaking Bad.
Better Call Saul.
I mean, this season was phenomenal. Like Bob Odenkirk is a phenomenal actor. And it's mad that he's only really getting this chance, like this big opportunity now to show how good he is. But what I'm going to go for is a bit of a different one, a documentary. The Last Dance. Not Tiger King.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to go for The Last Dance.
Forgot all about that.
Yeah. So, for anyone who doesn't know, The Last Dance is about the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls team, and it's about it's about the team in their last season, basically. The Last Dance is what they call it. But it's kind of like how Michael Jordan joins the Bulls and how he basically almost like single-handedly pushes them to become the championship winning team, and it's kind of it's framed sort of focused around their last season, and then interspersed with sort of important points during his career, like when he weirdly retires and plays baseball for a bit. But it's such like a really great kind of character study of kind of everyone in that team, really, but for kind of centered around Michael Jordan. I just think it's and it's sort of weirdly kind of honest for something that kind of does obviously blow his trumpet a lot because he was an incredible athlete. But like even the stuff like what he did for Nike, like he basically made Nike who they are. Like they weren't anything until he kind of signed for them. I just thought it was a really incredible look at kind of him and his mentality. And there's a lot of things where I think during it people sort of say, was he an asshole? And they were like, well, yeah, he was an asshole, but did he get the best out of everyone in his team? And like, well, yeah. That's kind of, and the mentality required to be Michael Jordan was just, and I think the fact as well that he's just so unapologetic about that. He doesn't see someone saying he was an asshole as a criticism. He's like, yeah, well, that's what I had to do to win. And we did win, and we were the best team ever. And I don't have any interest in basketball. I don't have much interest in American sports. And I think, like, Guff, you're not a big sports person, but you watched it. I think a lot of people kind of don't really have that much interest in sports. I just found it such an interesting look at this person who ultimately kind of transcended that sport.
It's about characters, isn't it? It's about the characters and their motivations to be who they were. That's why it's like compelling to more than just basketball fans.
I think, like the extended cast with like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman just turns up halfway through and he's just this absolute man, just mad. He was like going out with Madonna and it's just like this mad stuff going on. And Michael Jordan's just this like constant person throughout the whole thing. I just think it's such a great documentary and told in such like an inspiring. It does a really good balance of like being so inspiring. Like this is what this man achieved by pushing himself and pushing everyone around him so much, while also not being like wanking him off the whole time. I thought it was like a really nice sort of. I don't know a better word for saying wanking him off.
Sorry. Bigging him up. Could have just said that.
Bigging him up. Yeah. Could have, but I didn't.
There's a few things you could have said. Yeah. No, I am. I bang on. Like I am not very much interested in sports in a big way, but like, yeah, that was like you said, like inspirational. I think that was like some of the thing I got from that was I was like, that's made me want to like work hard at something. Like
I think
it's sort of like
take a basketball, just like.
You've got Hoop in the background there, haven't you? That's it.
Just Guff's used lockdown to become Michael Jordan.
No, I genuinely, I think it was a. I've just said, I completely forgot about it, but I think it's testament to how much has come out this year. But that was probably one of my absolute go-tos. I was like every night, I was like, I need to watch more of this. Like I really enjoy. Like I very rarely feel that way about a documentary. Just because. It's telling the truth. It's not like a narrative necessarily. Yeah. But I was just like, I need to watch more of this.
Yeah,
really good. Well,
that's it. When it was told as a story, and I think especially if you're not into basketball and you don't know what happens in. I mean, obviously everyone knows Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, but I didn't know what happened in that story with the Chicago Bulls. Like I didn't know how many things they won, if they won, what they won. I didn't know that, so I was like gripped. I was like, I need to know if they win this three-peat. Like I need to know if they win this season, like all the way through. So I think that like the way it was structured was really clever. Like not only giving you an insight into their lives and what motivated them, but then also going, I really want to know if they win this. Like I need to know.
I really want to know why did Space Jam.
Well, yeah.
Honestly, I was only watching it for Space Jam.
That bit with Space Jam's mad, when they're just like, yeah, we've got this basketball court on set, so we can go and practice. And it's just like, this is insane. This is so weird.
But you know what? Like, it was those mad stories that I loved the most.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that, because that was one of them where he was like, he invited like all the best players in the NBA to go play with him and just basically spar, essentially, if you will.
And they were like, yeah, because it's Michael Jordan. Anyone else asked that question, you're probably like, nah, I'm probably not going to bother, mate.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But then he did, but then he was like, I know how to beat all of them. It was like, he's like mind palacing them all and like sort of figuring out, But then my other one, and I think me and you, I know you love this story, Rob, but like, it's the one where like he talks about how he like made up stories to like get psyched up psychologically so he could like fuck someone up on the court. Like he's like a dude that like he like for years there was this whole story about how he like slighted him and like he said something to him like when walking through like.
Isn't it? He didn't say hello or something like that.
That's a different dude. That's like the
Yeah,
coach
different
of the
one.
team.
That's another one.
And he beat the team. The coach didn't say hello. But no, there was a dude that was like everyone was saying he's like the new Michael Jordan. He's like on par with Michael Jordan. He was like a newcomer to the NBA, and he made up a story where apparently he said like something about like our old timer or something. Like, he made a slight to him, and he rumored for years that was why the next game Michael Jordan's thrashed him.
Yeah.
But apparently Michael Jordan just made that up because he made that story up to himself so that he could
didn't believe it.
Like,
yes, it's like I
Yeah,
love
it's
that.
mad.
Michael Jordan should do like
I love- I
talks
just
on
love
like
his mentality.
Yeah, he should do talks on like manifestation. Like he literally lied to himself so much he believed it, and then
Yeah,
To be
years
fair,
later it was just like,
I do this
it
when I'm
happened.
playing Overwatch. I'm like,
Yeah.
I make a little narrative in my head, and if I kill someone, I like teabag them, and it kind of builds up this little
I know.
narrative. And this thing sort of,
Sorry to.
I'm learning. I'm learning.
Sorry to tangent. I did that to a Genji today as Anna. He like was trying to get me all game, and then he slashed at me. He bladed. I ran away, shooting him, and then I slept him as he finished his blade. Went up, teabagged him because he was on like 1 health, and then naded him to kill him. And I was like, "That's good because I know
piece of shit.
I know that's good because
in his head.
because he will have seen the teabag before I killed him. So I'm in his head now. I'm in his head.
You made sure to get like
You know.
front facing.
Oh yeah, he
like,
will have seen it, and then he came for me for the
Look
rest
at
of the
me.
game.
I want you to see
Yeah.
what I'm about to do to you.
just like Michael Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
so-
Michael Jordan of Overwatch.
Some honourable mentions. I watched Umbrella Academy this year. I know the second season came out this year.
Yes.
Enjoyed that. The trip to Greece finished off the trip. I don't know if anyone's a fan of the trip.
Oh, is that-
Michael
what's that on?
Winterbottom. It's Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon, where they're playing like
I really liked
Yeah.
the trip.
hyper reality versions of themselves, sort of
Yeah.
thing. Very, very funny. The trip to Greece finished,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
I nearly teared up at the end. It's
What's it
very
on?
sad.
I didn't know that was out.
It
Yeah,
was
I've
on
not heard
Now
anything.
TV. Yeah, they moved to Sky. Yeah,
Oh, did
it
they?
came out. I think it was like the start of this year.
Well up for that.
Devs was on BBC.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
I
by
heard that was really good.
Matthew Garland.
Alex Garland, the
Oh,
guy
no,
did
Alex
Ex Machina.
Garland. Who's Matthew Garland?
Very, very good. You?
She marry into the family.
I wish.
When you married Judy Garland, do you not remember?
What?
Devs was brilliant. It doesn't quite land the ending for me, but it's really,
Yeah,
really
I've
good. It's a
heard
really
that,
good journey.
Is it a one-off?
It's like a 10-episode one-off season, yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Sex Ed was Brack. That's one of my favourite shows. I think I spoke about it in our end-of-year podcast last year, saying it's my
Yeah,
favourite
yeah.
show of last year.
Yeah.
That's back.
Um,
That's back in a few days, isn't it? It's like,
Is it?
Yeah, it's like 17th of Jan or something like that, I think.
Oh, my God.
Breaking
what
news,
time to be
everyone.
alive. I can't wait for that.
Like Christmas.
I've seen Dead to Me's come up in the chat again.
Yeah,
that
I'd
was
forgotten about
one of
Dead
the
to
shows of last year as well.
That second season was mental. Like, where that
Absolutely
season
mad,
ends up,
wasn't
like, me and Laura watched it together because it was like height of lockdown, like via like Zoom together, like watching it, and we were both just like, "What is happening?"
I need to watch that.
It was such a weird
I might
experience
move
to
on
watch
that.
that.
It's very good. Very good. Tiger King. Do we need to talk? I think everyone said
I
everything.
think that's
they
an
said about
honourable
Tiger.
mention in it.
It was a
everyone's
mention.
seen
It was a
yeah.
weird moment in
Fucking
everyone's
mad.
life. Tiger King won it.
And Carol Baskin called out Jimmy Savile and Rolf Harris.
Loved it.
Oh,
Loved it.
Wished him happy
The
birthday.
best part about that.
Yeah, I think that was better than the whole series. To be fair,
It was.
I think probably was.
yeah.
And then the final one I was going to say was Mandalorian, which we got
Yeah.
both seasons here in the UK. So we got it in March. And then the second season, obviously, same
was
time as
it
America.
March?
Yeah.
Was that how late we got Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Because we didn't get
Well,
Disney Plus till March,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shit,
yeah.
I thought it was January. I completely. I know it came out in November in America. I forgot that it was March. Oh,
Yeah. So we've had both
Because somebody
seasons.
was illegally streaming it. So it's early.
Doxing.
I know Matt's not seen most of it.
Yeah, I've watched.
So let's.
No, I've watched
probably
5
not go into spoilers.
episodes, and I'm
Keep
absolutely
that
loving it. So
Let's keep that out.
keep it out of the chat.
But yeah, I love this. I think it's probably one of the best Star Wars things. Most consistent stuff. I think the problem with Star Wars is it's so
So,
bloody
yeah.
inconsistent. And this is consistently very good. And I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think is and I want to attest. I want to sort of give a thing to this. Is they've gotten very good directors in, both sort of like smaller and bigger directors in to sort of do episodes, but they've also got an idea of where it's going.
Yeah.
I think,
Really helps.
I think
Always
one
helps.
big thing that makes
Always
Mandalorian a really good series compared to some of the
Yeah.
other stuff Disney have been in charge of They've had one particular story they wanted to tell and just got directors to sort of tell that in their way.
They're
and
finally
it's
learning
very
from
well.
Kevin Feige. Finally.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Sorry, I love the idea of Kevin Feige coming in and going, "What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Why have you done it this way? Let me. I'm just doing this now."
It's like
Not here. Take John. John will do it for you.
yeah. It's like that weird sketch scene,
John
you know, that
Favreau.
guy slapping everyone at the barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like
Walking
Kevin
out.
Feige doing that to like everyone at Lucasfilm
Yeah.
Except John Favreau.
and September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple of honorable
Does anyone
mentions.
else have any
Forehead.
honorable mentions? Go.
I have a couple, yeah,
Yeah.
but I'll let Matt go.
I was just say Afterlife season 2. That was really good. The Ricky Gervais
Yeah.
series on
Oh
Netflix.
yeah, very good.
Really, really love that.
It's always funny to hear Ricky Gervais call a little kid a cunt.
That's
always
my
love it.
favourite thing
Yeah.
ever. No, it's not even that. What's his? Because he's like, you're a pedo, and he's like, well, if I was a pedo, I wouldn't come after you. And then
Oh, yeah.
calls him a ginger cunt or something
Apparently-
like that. It's so good.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's incredible.
I've seen a behind the scenes thing where, like, and I'm quite glad that this is the case, but a behind the scenes thing where someone's shot from the far away shot where you can see them both at the fence, and he doesn't actually say to the
Oh yeah,
the
of course,
kid,
I'm gonna say to the actual
"You're a
kid.
cunt."
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like he says something completely different, but I never thought of that. I was
Yeah.
like, it is quite harsh to say that to an actual child acting or not.
Yeah.
It's actually quite harsh. And also, like, the thing of being like, if I wouldn't come after you. It's quite a harsh thing to probably
It's
say to
so
a kid.
funny.
in
You're an
a
ugly-
weird
yeah,
way.
you're an ugly
Probably
little
best
kid.
to get him out of the shot when you're doing
Yeah.
that.
What else did I have? I had The Boys.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, sorry.
Boys was really good. Like I watched both seasons this year, but both of them were really, really
Yeah.
good. I'm trying to look for stuff that came out this year because Ted Lasso. I don't think any of you have watched that. I
You
watched
love that
on
yeah,
Apple
you-
TV.
You really enjoyed it.
I don't think it's great, but I really liked it. It's such a weird thing that I kind of felt compelled to keep watching it, but also at the same time I was like, I don't think this is great, but I'm kind of really in. It's so weird. I don't think I could recommend everyone to go out and watch it, but if you're curious, I'd say give it a go. It's such a weird phenomenon, and then
Get that on the poster.
yeah, and I don't know if did Schitt's Creek last season come
It
out this
ended
year?
this year.
This year,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, ended
I've
this year.
Yeah.
watched all that, and I really like Schitt's Creek, so go and watch Schitt's Creek. It's good.
Sam, did you have any?
Only one I could think of which isn't just a sequel to something else was I thought The Strange was all right, like a British.
I heard that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Who
thought
was in
yeah,
it?
I watched that actually with Mum. Yeah, it's mad. It's totally mad.
What's he called? What's he called?
Richard Armitage.
Richard Armitage. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I
he
forgot
really
about that.
good performance in that. And, yeah, they did that. What was that other one that I saw it was the same director did?
The Bodyguard.
Like 16. No, it's like one of those types of series, like the.
Because it's
sort of like
it's bold,
thriller.
because it's The Strange is based on a book, right? And the guy who has written the book has had like a big deal with Netflix, so they're just making all of his books into series. I think it's pretty
Right.
mad,
Fair
but it's pretty
It had a
compelling.
similar. Yeah, it had a similar tones of like. Didn't watch Home. I think it's called Home. Oh no, Safe. It's called Safe. The one with the dude from Dexter in it. I want to say. Came out in 2016, I'm pretty sure. That's like a very similar tone to it, and I'm pretty sure it's by like it's either the same director or something that did it. But that's a very good. But anyway, that's not 2020. The Stranger was 2020, and the cast, the acting in that was very good.
Was
It
good,
is called
yeah.
Safe.
It's got the
yeah, Michael C. Hall's in it. Yeah.
the woman that plays the baddie, kind of a baddie in Ant-Man 2. What's she called?
Yeah.
Ghost.
Oh,
Ghost.
Ghost
yeah,
in
yeah.
that,
She who plays that. She's in that. She's good.
She does. Yeah, and it is good. Yeah.
I had sorry, quick one. I forgot a film one. His House, the horror on Netflix. Please go watch it. It's really good. That was a film though that I missed out. It's a horror about refugees coming to the UK and being put in a council house.
It's a documentary.
Oh, that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's very good. But there's a woman from Lovecraft Country that's in that, and she's very good in it. But sorry, yeah, my series one. I had a lot of what's already been mentioned, like Umbrella Academy Boys, Mando, Queen's Gambit. Cobra Kai though. That's mine. That was an absolute. I
That came
loved
out
it.
a few days ago, didn't it?
No. Season 3 came out.
Season 3 was this year
like,
on
the other
Netflix,
day.
wasn't it? Right. Oh no, it's
Yesterday.
season 2 on Netflix.
I'm gonna binge the living shit out of it because I think it's so much fun. But I watched season 1 and 2 this year because it came onto Netflix in 2020.
Yeah.
And it's fucking mint. It's absolutely mint. I love it. Even though that's dodgeball.
I was going to say that's dodgeball.
Yeah. No one in the Karate Kid
Same thing.
No.
Same thing.
But it's top. Can we get some big dubs for Cobra Kai in the chat, please? I know there's some Cobra Kai lovers in the chat. There's gotta be.
Speaking of chat, let's have a quick run through.
I'm gonna run to the toilet while you go through chat.
Great. Joe says Normal People is very, very good. I need to watch that because I've heard if my dad likes that. If my dad likes it, he's a weird. I don't know if he's a good barometer for what stuff good is, but he isn't. Hat says, don't bother reading Normal People. I reckon the series is better. I've heard that probably from you. Because you're my wife.
I've heard that in my house somewhere. I don't know where. The ghosts in the walls have said the same thing.
Joe says, did anyone watch The Third Day on Sky?
No, I've not heard of that.
No,
I can't remember.
Sky has some genuinely really good shit on TV, man. And I'd never look at it apart from like the odd thing.
Hat says, Matt forgot to mention all the sexy bits of Normal People. Don't watch it with your parents. That's why I was surprised my dad watched it, because it just seems like horny teenagers kind of going at it from the bits that I've seen on TV.
Your dad seems like a horny teenager from every time I've met him, just saying.
Don't him. Sick burn on my dad.
Your dad's a horny teenager. Your dad.
He's no.
He's no.
Potato says his favorite TV last year was The Boys or The Mandalorian. Yeah, same. We liked them both a lot. Ham says Dead to Me on Netflix is super good. Yeah. Better Call Saul is 100% superior, and I love Breaking Bad. Yeah, totally agree. Berg says Better Call Saul is not sure Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad, but it's on par. It's a slow burner, but worth the effort and grows into itself more every season. Completely agree. I think it is more kind of nuanced than Breaking Bad, and it is a bit slower. And I think that's probably why people didn't really get into it right at the start, and also because Saul is in Breaking Bad is a really one-dimensional character, and they really expand on it so well. And his like opposite, the lady who like stars with him, she's incredible. She's really good. Ed says only series I think I've seen was Hey Dougie on CBeebies. 100% would recommend. Don't really know what to say to that. I'll get into it. Ham says loved Afterlife. Yeah, I completely forgot that was out, to be honest.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to appreciate Ham said, like, excuse you, you've watched Mr. Tumble too. There's so much Mr. fucking Tumble in this house. Because like I've got like when our nieces come over, like well, my niece, because I say my parents.
You say like all four.
It's my parents' grandchild, not ours. Like, it's my niece. When she's round, there's like Baby Bump or something like that. Is like another show that's just always on, and I'm like, I'm struggling with like hearing
mentally.
with hearing Five Little Ducks Came Swimming One Day over and over again, over and over again.
Honestly, there was a day when like mine and Rob's stepnephew watched Minions 3 times on repeat, like the film Minions.
That is hell. That is hell.
Like, kill me.
Yeah, can we get some F's in the chat for Matt and Rob having to watch Minions?
I fucking hate Minions.
The next Minions film coming out, or the next Despicable Me film, The Rise of Gru?
Never.
I'm just looking forward to all the War Memorial memes.
I worked at the cinema during those films. F's for me, please.
Yeah.
F's for me. We've just got a follow from Big Greg. Thank you for the follow, Big Greg.
Hey, hello, Big Greg.
Big Greg. Greg Davis from Taskmaster.
Yeah.
I hope.
Taskmaster. That's one of my favourite TV shows
yes,
as well. Brilliant TV show. Everyone
is amazing.
It's banging. And it's very good, even though they socially distanced this season. Still managed to make it really good. Bug says, and except Dave Filoni. We forgot about Dave Filoni, everyone.
Oh, no, I saw Dave Filoni was never in the slapping category. He was never going to get slapped. He wasn't even in the garden. He wasn't even in the garden.
Ham recommends Derry Girls. I watched the first episode of that and really enjoyed it, and then just didn't watch the rest. I don't know why. I'm very sorry. I will do that.
I'm so disappointed you.
Walking Dead Worlds Beyond. Walking Dead Worlds Beyond was average. Hopefully serves as well, but for the next 1 to 2 seasons of the main show. I dropped off Walking Dead probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I dropped out at season 4.
I didn't even know there was a different spin-off show.
There was 2, weren't there? Weren't there 2 different shows? There was Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And then there was this one, I'm assuming, World Beyond.
I didn't realize there was a second one.
Yeah, same.
I guess I'm glad that it's average. The Outsider on HBO. I've seen trailers. I've not seen it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, same.
Potato saw the first series of Cobra Kai when it was on YouTube. It's on YouTube Red, right? It's like the
That's why I avoided it, because I was like,
no one has.
It'll probably be shy. And then I was like, oh, actually, I've heard it's quite good. I liked the concept though. I was like, oh, it's a good concept for a show. Showing off your beers, is it, boys?
Yeah.
No, I put a poll in the chat, and I'm trying to subtly get everyone to vote what beer I should have next.
All right.
So I'm showing them off while everyone's talking.
I vote that one because I like that one.
It is good.
Everyone vote in the
There's
chat.
a lot of chat about Baby Bum in the chat, which I'm just going to skip past. People seem to be having mental breakdowns, so we'll leave it to you.
I'm like, as someone who doesn't have kids but has like a baby niece, I'm like, it's nice to be able to vent a little bit, because I'm like, it's haunted my house. That like all I can hear, and like my dad will keep it on because I think he's just gotten used to the sound. So even when she's asleep, or she's like gone for a walk or left the house, it's still on, and I'm like, Dad, can you turn it off?
Dad!
Turn it the fuck off. It's all I can hear.
So my dad's a horny teenager. Your dad is a toddler.
Oh yeah, Matt, you missed that.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean,
yeah,
it's 100% right, but.
No, I was gonna say really quick about Cobra Kai first season. I was like, the concept's really great. It's on YouTube Red though, so I'm not gonna fucking watch it because I ain't paying for that shit. Yeah. And then it came to Netflix, and like it obviously did really well. And I thought season 3 was already out, so binged all the way through season 2. Got to the end of season 2, it leaves on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I was like, fuck off, it's not out yet. I was fuming. I was absolutely raging. My night was prepared to watch season 3, and I had to wait months, but gutted.
Yeah, good. Joe says, anyone watched Ozark? It's on my list.
I haven't, but I've heard it's fantastic.
That and Dark are both on my list.
Oh, I need to
Dark
watch
was
Dark.
amazing.
Yeah. I really need to watch
I've not
Dark.
watched season 2 or 3 yet, but season 1 was amazing. I've watched the first episode of season 2, but
they're all getting on the list. Fear is still ongoing too. And Ham says, you never get used to sound, you die as a psycho. And with that, we'll move on to our next category. Best game of 2020. I've got one on my list.
I've got one which is going to be the same as you, and a second one.
I've got an honourable mention which is absolutely the same as everyone else.
Shall we do the obvious one that I picked, which is The Last of Us 2?
Yeah, which is the same as me. Yeah.
I know, okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
no spoilies though.
No. I've not played that many games that came out this year, to be fair. So
I haven't either. But that's why I've gone with this.
Mainly because we've played Overwatch all year.
Pretty much,
essentially.
That's my honourable mention.
Yeah.
The Last of Us
last year as well.
Yeah.
It was an honourable mention. Like
The Last of Us 2 is genuinely an astonishing achievement in storytelling. That I think the first one is genuinely a brilliant game as well, and the storytelling in that is phenomenal. The Last of Us 2, I know a lot of people don't like it for real reasons and also for fake made up reasons that are in your head.
Women,
too,
women kissing other women. I don't like it.
Being emotionally manipulated. That's any media emotionally manipulates you. That's the point of a story to make you feel different things.
I hated it. I felt things.
But I genuinely think, as a storytelling device, the way it uses sort of flashbacks. I'm going to try not to spoil it. There's the final scene of it. Genuinely made me feel more than probably any other form of media, or even films struggle to make me feel as much as that game did at certain points. I think mechanically I wasn't really that concentrated on how good it felt. It feels quite a big improvement on the first game. Obviously the first game was end of last generation. This is end of this generation, so it is different, worlds apart in terms of the game mechanics and how it looks, and it does look incredible. But I just think the way they've managed to tell a new story that is very different from the first one in such a way that it goes places that you just don't expect it to go, and it makes you feel things that you don't expect to feel in that game. And I just think it's amazing. I genuinely think it's game of the generation.
Wow, that's fucking massive.
I really do. I absolutely love it. I'm going to show you all something now. Matt, yeah. Go tell everyone what you think about The Last of Us 2. I'm going to show you a piece of artwork that I got, which
this
I think is amazing.
Cool.
This artwork better not be the final scene that spoils the whole game.
Yeah, it's just the final scene.
While he's doing... Oh, no, you're going to say something, aren't you, Matt? Sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I absolutely loved it. It was one of those games that I was like, I'm going to sit down. I'm only playing this when I know I can play like a good few hours of it. Because like, I love the first one. The first one's in my like top 5 games of all time, probably. So I was like, I'm only going to play it when I know I can dedicate like 3 hours to actually sitting down and playing it. I'm playing it with headphones on, like the whole thing. And yeah, I loved it. Like, it's one of those things that I can see the criticism in it. I just don't care. Do you know what I mean? I know, like, in some places it drags a little bit. Maybe there's some bits where, like, it could have been compressed a little bit, and like, it's annoying because there's a criticism of it that I have that I can't say without ruining things for it. But some of the mechanical things in the later game, I can't really explain it without spoiling it, which is unfortunate because it sounds like
I know what you're talking about.
It sounds like it sounds like I have a proper criticism. I just think it was very unnecessary. Like, these 2 moments, I felt it was really, really unnecessary.
Go on.
No, it's just I'm like saying a sincere point, and Sam's obviously trying to make some joke, I think.
I am trying to.
Do you want to do your joke first, or shall I do my sincere point first?
Are you able to swim in the second film? Has she learned it yet?
I don't want to know.
No spoilers.
I can't remember, actually.
You're genuinely talking about this.
I can't remember.
Can't spoil that.
Can't spoil it.
This is in the first game where she can't fucking get in the water because she'll fucking die.
Yeah, that is a thing.
That's a great game mechanic.
I look so much more bald when I take these off, man. I forget what I look like on camera without headphones. I'm like, there's so much bald.
Yeah. To be fair, when I saw you today to drop that beer off for you, I'd kind of forgotten what your head looks like without like headphones on or something, because all I see is you just with headphones on.
Well, yeah, as well. The last time I saw you, I wore a hat.
Yeah, yeah, you did, yeah.
I didn't even see my head. It's like, when I first did it, I was like, I fucking look like Sinead O'Connor. I mean, that's an insult to Sinead O'Connor, I know that, you know.
But yeah, Last of Us. But yeah, there's like, I think everyone that kind of has played it will know what I'm kind of talking about. I felt those bits were very unnecessary and kind of, they were the only bits where I felt it was kind of forcing you to kind of pick a side or do a little, like, it felt a little too forced, like a path that I necessarily didn't want to go down. But apart from that, I thought it was like, I really enjoyed the mechanics. Thought it felt really good. The sound design, like the dialogue, the world building, the story, I just absolutely loved. I think like the motivations of the characters are so real. Because like I was speaking to someone recently in one of the Discords. I can't remember which Discord it was, but Jay, if you're around, I presume you're still in Mag's stream. But if you are speaking to Jay about it, he was kind of saying it felt a bit like, he didn't really like the writing that much, and kind of broke it down into his, like, it's just back and forth. And I was like, I kind of get that, but I feel like the motivations were always justified for what happened in that story. It never felt like a systematic thing. It felt like a natural progression based on people's kind of feelings and beliefs and the new information that they learned along the way. But yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I want to go back and do a full playthrough of 1 and 2, like back to back, and really kind of get the full experience. I'd really, really love to do that.
I think I am gonna throw some time into it this year, because I think I've just
you need to.
I've still got it here.
You need
like,
to.
I need to. I think it's because I just don't play games that often. Like, it's either I'm streaming or I'm playing with yous, and it's Overwatch or something. But
I'm the same.
I've not actually sat down and played a game for myself for a while, and I want to do that for Last of Us 2. I was thinking, should I stream it? But I was like, no, I want to at least for the first time play it. I want to like play it because I don't want to cry on camera. No, that's exactly. The thing. I don't want to cry on camera.
Because it was, I play with headphones in the dark or something. It's just,
because
I think you were talking about a lot of the criticism it got, and I think a lot of the criticism was sort of like characters saying, these people wouldn't do this, or these aren't what these characters would do. And they're the sort of the same people who don't realize that Luke Skywalker blew up a Death Star with millions of people on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just focused on who they think the protagonist is, and they're always 100% right, and they always make the right decisions, and they cannot be flawed in their mindset.
Yeah.
And a lot of the criticism was like, oh well, she wouldn't do that, and it's like, you've played the first game, right? You've seen what these people. Yeah. Everyone's doing horrible things in this world. Like, you can't. There's no sort of like moral. I mean, it's very morally ambiguous, the whole game, and the whole game always has been. And people are sort of pretending that the first one also wasn't. which I find very
Also, like,
confusing.
I think based on that criticism and based on the very little I know about it, and I think that criticism I can imagine is based on one particular character, or at least the main character, I should say. But like in the first one, they're a very completely different person. Like time has passed. There's events that have happened sort of prior to us seeing the game. Do you know what I mean? Like in between the two games that will have changed the person. Like so, and again, and you sort of brought the Luke Skywalker thing into it, but like the idea that like 30 years are between those two films, like of Return of the Jedi and Last Jedi, where it's like that's people like to pretend that people stay the same over 30 years. People change within a year. People change in a few months. So it's like, do you know what I mean? Like that's. I'm a big believer in like I'm fine with people changing as long as it tells the story of maybe how they get back. I think that's fine.
Yeah. Or why they've changed.
And I think that's what a lot of stories tell. Or why they've changed. Yeah, exactly. It's understandable.
Which it definitely does, in my opinion.
Sorry, but I wanted to give a quick shout. When I don't know what there was something about something the way Matt was saying it was like this and this and this and this and I don't know why, but it reminded me of the Hugh Grant video where he's talking about the last like Rise of Skywalker and Limmy takes the piss out of it.
No,
it was like, I laughed, I cried.
Richard E. Grant, not Hugh Grant.
Richard E. Grant. Sorry, Hugh Grant. Richard E. Grant was like, I laughed,
I cried,
I jumped for joy.
And then he banned Limmy when Limmy took the piss out of him.
Banned him.
I'm gonna do that for every single podcast.
I'm gonna have to find
on everything.
I'm gonna have to find that now and post it in the chat for anyone that's not seen it.
I laughed, I cried. Get the Limmy version up.
The Limmy version. Yeah.
Sam, what was your game of 2020?
Because again, I've not played that many games that came out in 2020, but the reason why I kind of bought a PS4 originally was to play the Final Fantasy VII remake, which I enjoyed quite a bit because I'm a big fan of the first one, obviously.
Is that how recently you bought a PS4?
Yeah.
Really?
I bought it like just as lockdown kind of started. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Wow.
You only just bought it.
Money for it a lot of the time. I had a PS3 for a bit, but then it broke, and then I just never bought anything to sort of replace it. But then I bought it during lockdown.
Feels like you've had one for longer for some reason, but then it has been a long year, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But I liked it. I mean, combat gets a bit repetitive, I guess, at points, and I still technically haven't finished the game because I kind of fell off and got obsessed with Overwatch. And it's all I really wanted to kind of play.
Overwatch? What's that?
What's that thing?
Wow.
No, you've played 75 hours of competitive this season. Not me.
This is slowly. Do you remember that? Did anyone listen to the IGN UK podcast where every episode would just end up them talking about Overwatch? And we are not
they
allowed
literally
to talk
banned it. They literally banned it.
We're the IGN podcast, but 3 years later.
Yeah, they banned it in the end because they spoke about it so much and they got complaints from listeners.
That's really funny that people complain.
The same eventually, but no, I mean, I enjoyed that. I mean, obviously, it plays on a lot of like nostalgia from the first game, and like there are some like interesting turns they take. Obviously, expanding it from the portion of the game that's actually playable is the thing you could probably do on the first disc, and actually no, wait, even less than the first disc. I'm trying to think the point where you leave off, where I know the game ends. I'm basically the last chapter of it. Like the point I know the game ends at is I don't know, like in terms of how much time it actually take me on the first game to do it, maybe 3-4 hours, maybe something like that. And this game now is like 60+ hours. So like they obviously had to put a fair bit into it. And none of it feels too like contrived or like forced in for the sake of it. Like it actually genuinely feels just part of sort of the same world but a different sort of game that's going on. Like there's always part of me that's a bit because obviously all Final Fantasies kind of changed after like 12, I guess, where it wasn't as turn-based anymore and it was more I don't know, what do you call it?
I think it's just more sort of like, I'd say it's leaning towards hack and slash, even though it isn't a hack and slash, but it is sort of like, oh, hello there. It's more like an RPG now, though, isn't it, Espo?
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah. It is more, yeah. So it's not as like you go, then they go, then you go, which some of the other ones were, which do still hold a really like fun place in like the games of the past that I like playing those games because it is like almost strategic at the side of that. Whereas this one, you can get away with a bit of a just smashing square until something sort of keels over a bit. But there is still an element of thinking out the process that you're sort of doing and understanding like the the weaknesses of certain characters or certain things you're going against, which I mean, I enjoyed a lot of. There is one that almost stole this for me, which came out a lot more recently, but I'm waiting to see if anyone else says this first. So, but that was mine anyway. I know, Guff, you mentioned playing some of the Final Fantasies potentially on some stream at some point. So
yeah, I want to play Final Fantasy 15 on stream because I started that at uni and then just never got around to playing it because genuinely the stupidest reason I've ever stopped playing a game was because the text was too small, and at uni my TV was very far away from my bed. So I couldn't read anything, so I was like, I'm just going to not play this. It's really
That's
stupid.
the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Well, it's because I used to sit on the end of my bed and made my back hurt because I had no lumbar support.
I've been a victim of that, yeah.
You should suffer. You need to suffer, man.
It's legitimately the dumbest reason I ever stopped playing a game. It's so dumb. But I do want to, we'll get a stream out of it, hopefully.
Go on in, go forward your game of 2020.
I mean, it's got to go to Doom Eternal.
Hey, I put it in the background because I knew you'd pick it. It's to the right of your head right now, above Big Bong. I put it there
because I noticed it as well.
Because the thing was, I was putting this collage together, and I was kind of like picking my stuff, and I was like, I need to kind of put what other people are going to say in here. So I was like, Guff's going to go for Doom Eternal. That's going in there.
It is. I'm glad that it's that obvious. I think it is an absolute triumph. Like, obviously, for anyone who watches my stream, I streamed it on Saturdays, and we've recently finished the DLC. That game is... I attribute it to making... That game is the reason I'm better at FPS. Not good, better at FPS.
The reason I'm fine.
The reason I'm absolutely fine. I can play them. They're borderline unplayable in the past, where I just was not very good at them at all. But when I used to play Apex with like a couple of friends, because me, Sam, and Matt, we've only started.
I was going to say, by a couple of friends, do you mean these two guys?
No, because I played it with Tom and Harry
yeah,
quite a lot before you lot jumped on. And I was shocking. Like, I've always played like this because it's a battle royale. For anyone who doesn't know Apex Legends, and I used to get like a sniper. I used to be like dead far away. I like to doing like the sort of long range shit. But every time I got like close to people, I'd like panic and fumble and like get really bad at like moving around and bad at aiming. Like everything that like it's why I'm shy at COD as well and Halo. And there's not a shooter game I've ever been good at when it comes to multiplayer. Never, right? But Doom Eternal, there was something about it when I saw like footage, because I never played Doom 2016, which I will be hopefully playing at some point soon. But they will. I heard so many good things about it, and I heard it was so much fun. I heard it was really, really good. And I watched a few people like I saw like a let's play of like the first maybe hour of it or something. And I was like, I am 100% buying this. It looks like so much fun. It looks really different. It looks batshit, and I think that's what got me. It was like this thing that just sort of threw you in. It looks mental. I was like, yeah, throw me in.
That's weird because that's what puts me off playing it. Like watching people play it, I kind of go. I enjoy watching people play it. It's not a game. It looks too. Oh, there's too much going on for me.
See, that's really interesting.
Maybe if I played it though, I'd get more into it. But like,
yeah, because I was gonna say that it's the same feeling I had about Overwatch, where there's so much going on screen. Where I was like, when I didn't play Overwatch until you said how much you enjoyed it and like sort of convinced us to get it, I was like, I don't think I could play this. It looks like there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Every time Overwatch.
We should make
no,
that
it was
rule.
like they should make that.
I mean, I've got a segment later which might mention Overwatch, and so
yeah, so do I. I think we probably all do. I think that's just going to be. I think that's
really
just
interesting because so do I.
I think that's just
almost
going
like
to
I put that category in on purpose so we can talk about Overwatch.
I think that might just be a big Overwatch segment. Let's be honest.
No, but yeah, Doom Eternal, like, especially looking more into it afterwards, like I've been watching, like, so the game director Hugo Martin, sort of, cause again, not playing the first one, I have no sort of frame of reference in how it's played, but he was talking about how this game is a game where more than the first one, it forces you to buy into the system. So like glory kills give you health, chainsaws give you ammo, these effects do some things on other characters, these are ways of like killing characters instantly, and like there's this such variety of different ways to play the game, but you sort of have to, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. And it is that thing where you're sort of forced into playing it their way, and if you deviate and play it in a different way, you're just not going to do well. And it's that sort of and you know, we sort of talk about which shall not be named, quite a lot in the idea that it's obviously built to be played a very certain way, and that is team based, and it's played as a team. Doom Eternal is a game that's like, you need to play it our way or you're just not going to succeed. And that is summed up perfectly in the final boss, where I think I knew it was one of my favorite games of all time while playing it and playing the campaign. But when I got to the final boss and I finished it and I completed it after several tries, the adrenaline I had, like after playing that, I was like, I think I finished it at like 3 a.m, and it was at a time when my sleeping pattern was more normal, so that was me staying up quite late. But my sleeping
nowadays,
pattern,
nothing.
It's like 3 a.m.'s fucking now. Shit, man, that's my twilight hours.
Weak sauce.
No, but like I finished that and I was up for a few more hours after it because I was genuinely on like such a high. Like I've never, and like I know like you, Rob and Matt, you've played more sort of like Dark Souls and stuff like that, and I know like, you know, obviously you did Bonfire Boss and everything like that. So like you've got plug. But you've done all those sort of like, you know, and we watch it with like RKG or Prepare to Try or whatever, where there's that sort of try again until you succeed, and then that pure elation. And I don't think I've felt that way after completing something. It was just incredible, like that ending. And I do think that is the game that made me, because it's a game that is so fast paced. It is so much thought behind everything. Like, again, it's like, okay, I can kill this person this way. I need to do this to get some ammo. I need to, like, it feels like you're planning 4 moves ahead. And it feels like you have to a little bit. And I've never had a game like that, to that extent at least. And again, I remember when we first played Apex, I don't think it was quite with you two, but it was with Harry and Tom again. And I played Apex after playing Doom, and I was like, I'm all right at this now. I'm okay at this. I'm not shit anymore.
Mate, we're sick at Apex. Our last Apex stream, we hadn't played that in months, and we won our first game of the night.
I got a fucking dub the other day on the New Year's stream.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. I mean, the guy was carrying, but that's not the point. But the point,
we mint Apex.
I got 2 kills.
Even
that's it. No, I was like,
that's it. Even with Sam's shaky hands, we're good.
Shaky hands, Sam.
It pays off. Sometimes it pays off. Unpredictable.
You've just got to counteract it.
Where am I going?
You've got to counteract it by moving. If they're moving at the exact same frequency that your hands are shaking, you're going to hit them.
You got shaky eyes, Keith, on the other line.
Yeah, like, you can't see anything.
Aim at you perfectly.
It's like when the Flash can phase through things. It just goes to the same frequency.
It's vibrating through his chair. No, but that's it. Like, that is a game that made me better at FPS shooters, and like, yeah, I think it's I think it's very much a game that is my favorite game of all time. What it is definitely in the top 5 of my entire life, like games I've played, and and again, like, I do recommend everyone plays it. It might not be for everyone, and it's, you know, it's gory and it's a bit mental and it's a lot to handle sometimes. I know some people watching my stream were like, this ain't for me, and that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I would, if you're into FPS games at all, if you're good at them, if you enjoy them, or if you want to get better at them, I think that is the perfect game. And I think, like, a few people have sort of said they think it's the best FPS game of this generation, and I would agree with that. I would 100. It might not be the most classic, because you look at like games like COD and everything for the multiplayer aspect, but from a sheer sort of skill-based perspective and like what sums up an FPS, I think that is the quintessential FPS game. I think it's fantastic.
Big praise.
Yeah.
We haven't played it, have we? Anyone else?
No.
Don't think.
No.
Has anyone got any honourable mentions before we move on? I don't have any, because I've only played The Last of Us this year.
Yeah, my like only one is like, and I'm only 6 hours into it, is Demon Souls. Like, I've been playing that on the PS5 over the last couple of days, and that is just like, I know, like, everyone's gone on about the PS5 and its capabilities, and like, kind of a lot of people have said that even like Miles Morales, which is made for the PS5, is still kind of like, oh, it's good, but it doesn't quite showcase what the PS5 has. And everyone said that the Demon Souls remake, really like reshows. I don't know why I said reshows. Really shows like what the PS5 is capable of, and it is like another level. Like I've been playing that with big headphones on. The sound design is just incredible. Like, which is not that big a deal really, because sound hasn't changed since since like PS4. Surely, still a similar process, but like the controller and just like how visceral like the attacks feels. How long's Guff gonna just hold these headphones like that for? Do you think?
Oh no.
He said big headphones,
Well, yeah, they are big headphones.
so I brought them closer. Get it?
Yeah,
Get it?
I get
They
it.
look like big headphones.
I get it. How like visceral,
This
like
beer's gone right.
I was
through my
gonna say,
head, you know?
mate. how like visceral like the combat feels, and it just feels like an incredible game. I'm only up to like the third boss, and I'm really like I've not played enough of it to have named it my game of the year. Like I don't think you can ever say anything's your favorite thing of the year if you've not actually completed it. But
Played it.
or played it. That'll be like up there for me. 100. Like unless it takes a very weird turn after where I'm up to, it's going to be like one of my games of 2021.
I heard after boss 6 it just turns into Animal Crossing.
Well, no, that's what I mean. I'm like, unless it takes a weird turn, there's no chance this isn't going to be one of my favorite films of the favorite games of this year. Sorry.
I thought it was the most stunning thing I've seen game wise.
Looks
I've not watched a lot of gameplay because I was I don't want to really.
Well, yeah,
I'm sort of waiting for RKG to play it really. But
Yeah, I was like avoiding it because I was like, I know I'm going to get it for Christmas. I'm avoiding everything. And like the thing is, I'm not. I've got like this monitor's all right. It's 1080p. It's a fine monitor, but I'm not even playing it on anything that good. And I'm like, if you're playing this on a really high spec TV, it must look. Because it looks great on this, let alone something else.
Do you know what? The fire mechanics? Like, there's something about the physics when things are on fire that look amazing.
It's incredible,
like,
man.
I'm genuinely like that. Like, I've seen like someone just set a barrel on fire, and I'm like, that is a barrel on fire. That is the most one of the most uninteresting things I've seen in a game, and that is fucking stunning.
Mate, it's like the times
that is mind-boggling.
It's like the times people have set me on fire in the game, and I'm like, I'm not even that annoyed. Like, 'cause that looks great. Like, it looks great. It's like, yeah, it's draining my health, but it looks great. Just yeah.
Is that everything? Should we move to some quick chat?
Last one for honorable mention. Fall Guys.
Oh yeah,
fair play.
That's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No one else said it, but I was like, that's just a fun all-round.
We've had a lot of fun this year with that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun on that. Yeah,
I'm glad that was on PS Plus. Like, I'm glad that came as part of it because I feel like it would not have got to the place it did.
No.
Without having
No
that,
way.
and obviously then the push on PC as well, and loads of streamers picked it up, and like it just blew up, and it's just a all-round fun.
It's
And
a
they
lot
seem
of
to be
fun.
at least,
It's a lot of fun.
yeah, they seem to be keep making it. I hope with like new seasons and stuff, obviously new levels.
Yeah.
Seem to keep getting in. So yeah, it's fun.
yeah, a lot of fun. That great game.
Ham says Kingdom Come is my favorite by far. We got it on PS4 this year, and it's my favorite RPG in years. Potato says Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Hyrule Warriors. That's a bit of a weird
Was
thing.
Hyrule Warriors any good? Like
I didn't know it was out yet. I thought it was coming out soon.
Yeah, it's out. Yeah,
I think it's good. But the Switch can't handle it, from what I've heard.
yeah.
And
Is it on PS4 as well? I'm sure it's like.
no. It's
Is it
only
not on other
Switch.
platforms?
It's like
No,
only.
it's Zelda.
Why did I think that?
It's like only Switch, and the Switch can't handle it, which is
yeah.
That is
really
mad.
funny,
That is
yeah.
mental.
It says Ghost was personally favourite. You could feel the passion of developers put into it. And Gameplay was one of my favourite this year.
I'm dying to play Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah.
I heard the gameplay is very good. The story's not as good from basically stuff I've heard, but I've not played it, so I can't offer an opinion.
no.
I am dying to play Hades though as well. Sorry,
Yeah, I
you
really
mentioned
wanna
that.
play
I just
Hades.
really want to play Hades. Yeah.
Ham says The Last of Us should have been restructured. I didn't care about Abby regardless of knowing her backstory. I can see that. I disagree, but
Yes, yeah. That's the thing. Like, if
that's opinions, isn't it?
That's what I mean. If someone's criticism of that game is I didn't connect to that character, I'm like, yeah, that's a valid opinion that you didn't connect to that character. That's 100% your prerogative.
I did. So I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah. I liked Abby.
Potato says I couldn't get into the first one, so I didn't play second. Fair enough.
That's fair.
And Ham says, I love the game, but I think it's awkwardly paced. Yeah, I think the pacing could be
Yeah.
improved.
I think especially
but
towards
I think,
the end, there's some really long bits when you feel like the game's ended, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a whole other like few hours
I
now.
think the thing it makes me feel overrules any sort of problem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think
Yeah.
saying
Oh, yeah,
something's a
100%.
masterpiece or a 10 out of 10 means it's flawless. I don't think anything is could technically be flawless. I don't think that's possible.
No.
But I think it's as close to it for me as it could get, really.
Again, sort of just hearing these things and not really having an actual opinion because I've not played it. But
I'm going to give it anyway.
But the idea of I think it must be hard when you've got a game like the first one that is so well paced. You've got a direct comparison with it being a sequel, and that first game is really well paced. I think. I don't think I'm ever bored playing The Last of Us 1.
No,
I think it's just really well done.
Even with the weird
pacing,
pacing, I wasn't ever bored playing it. But I could see it as a criticism of the game.
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
No.
Ed says my issue is that we grew and got to know Joel and Ellie as they got to know each other. Their characters grow and develop together over the game, but Ellie, Abby, and the others felt like a little one-dimensional throughout Last of Us 2. Again, I don't agree, but I can see it as a criticism. I also love the direction they went with the Final Fantasy VII remake. Not had as many theories about a game since discussing Pokemon Ruby in primary school.
I was going to say, is there much theory to go off? Only because, or have you never played Final Fantasy VII, Ed? Because I was going to say, obviously it's a remake, so is there that much new about it where you theorizing stuff?
There's some things that are discussed.
Yeah,
I assume the overall things will end up in the same spot. And I imagine I'm at a point now where things do get revealed. I just haven't played it. This is the bit where you first start in the original game, where you first start being right, something's a bit sus here, and you start to kind of question the main character and be like, what? How are you connected in all of this sort of thing? Which I assume they've not changed too much because I don't know. In terms of the story being explained, I don't know. First time playing through the original Final Fantasy VII, it was a bit like, I actually don't think I got that because maybe I just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention well enough.
Naive child
or whatever. But yeah, I could have just been not really realised it. But then through subsequent playthroughs, I've been like, all right, no, this is a bit more than what I anticipated. And then watching films like Advent Children and things like that, and more being laid on top of it. It's great animated film. That I don't know. I am at a point now where I probably should go back to and actually playing it. But I have to remind myself on. Basically, I got to a bit where I had to grind quite a bit, and I was like, oh.
Nah, I'm out. I'm out.
I was like, it's a bit samey. I also don't want to go past it because then I imagine it's a point of where I will not be able to come back to this. So we'll see.
Potato says, I'm not the biggest fan of the new stuff they did, but I think it's interesting, and he loves the combat system. Ed says Final Fantasy 15 is a really nice as a boy band on Tour Simulator.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard it's essentially a K-pop band, just getting about killing monsters.
Is this 10-2? Is this what it's going to turn into? Making a...
I hope not.
This is what happened in 10-2.
I hope not.
Joe says, it didn't come out this year, but Dead by Daylight.
That's taken Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've not played it, but I've seen a lot of Limmy playing it, which it looks like a lot of fun. And then Ed also says, really love Demon's Souls, Bugsnax, Final Fantasy VII, Ghosts, Animal Crossing, which I sunk a lot of time into very early and have not touched since probably May.
I sunk so much time into that game when I first got it, and then played it more than any other game at that time, and then haven't played since, apart from the stream that I did for Christmas, where I was like, I'm going to go check out some of the Christmas things. And I was like, I'm going to go make a snowman, because that's something you can do. And then I found the snowballs, and you have to push the snowballs to make them bigger. But apparently they can fall off the edge of cliffs or bump into things and just break. And they were just gone. And I was like...
That's wild, that. Because I was like, honestly, okay. I wouldn't have thought you could ever push a... Honestly, based on my real-world experience...
But it's a game! It's a kid's game!
Possible to push a snowball.
There's so many kids playing that game. You're ruining kids' Christmases because they're trying to play that game and make snowmen, and they're accidentally pushing them into things, and you're ruining Christmas.
I wonder if kids are like, I ain't gonna push this snowball off this cliff because it'll just break because they use real world experiences based off.
No way.
That's no.
I'm never going back.
They're magical talking animals. There's no way gravity exists.
I've uninstalled it. It's gone.
Ham says Outer Wilds is fantastic game to get lost in. I had that on my radar for a long time.
Outer Wilds, but I'm kind of semi-planning a stream week in kind of early Feb, and I'm going to play that, I think, because I really, really want to play it. It sounds incredible.
Yeah, I want to jump on it because I know, Ed, you suggested it in the Discord and and you said not to look into it.
No, don't look.
So
I've
not,
heard. I even feel like I've
kinda
heard too much already, but I'm really
Yeah,
I'm really into what it is kind of doing.
Yeah, Ed's Demon Souls definitely best looking game. Joe, once you get used to playing Dead by Daylight, it's so addictive.
It looks like that kind of. I've seen so many people just constantly stream it, because it does look, and it looks so much fun. It looks so much fun. I think I've got it on my wish list on PlayStation. So I'm hopefully gonna
Yeah,
get it.
Potato says Switch can handle Hyrule Warriors. Warriors. Yeah, I've not played it. I'm just going off what people have said, basically. And also, I really likes the story in Ghost, but the acting really makes it. I don't know what next comment's in reference to. Ed says, I'd argue that Final Fantasy VII isn't a remake, but a sequel, and Potato says, more of a reimagining. So
Yeah, I agree.
That's really interesting. I didn't think that.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
It'd have to play out following the sequence of the first game, and that actually isn't where it starts. Like with certain events that happen later on in the game on the original. I can't see it as a sequel. Like, I do see it as a reimagining for sure. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I like that though. I like that because I expected a shot for shot remake. So the fact that it has gone a bit of a different way, I actually really
cool.
appreciate.
Yeah,
Even though I've
I
not
love
played
that,
it,
yeah.
I really appreciate that they've done that. Yeah, fair play to
I spent a
them.
lot of time playing darts, trying to get that high score.
yeah,
You do
shall
love
we?
your darts.
I do. It's good.
Shall we move
Oh,
on?
sorry.
to our
Potatoes
next-
clarified that they have changed some major story bits was in reference to FF7.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, I've not played it.
No, I'm like Final Fantasy's never interested in. No matter how many people say it's great, I just look at it and watch people play it, and I go, "Do you know what? I'm sure it is great. It's just not. It's just not
for me.
It's not for
It's a
me."
bit weeby, innit? It's a bit weeby, but I'm here for it.
I mean,
that's
they-
what I
they-
want.
they're your-
I'm a bit weeby.
They're your
and I'm
words, not
fine with it.
mine.
I'm owning
but,
it.
It's a lot
yeah, I
of
just,
fucking cosplay.
I just go. I don't think
After that
that's
comment, we're
gonna
not
be for
taking
me.
any more questions on Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I don't think you
and,
can even. You can't say weeb on Twitch anymore, man.
No, you can't.
This is weeb is an insult. Weeb is just a new insult you've learnt this year. It doesn't mean that Twitch is angry at it.
I'm pretty sure Twitch.
It's virgin simping incel.
Oh, okay.
You said it now.
Yeah, but
And now I've got the channel ban. Yay!
Yeah.
Because it is from January. Whee!
Yeah.
It's not been used as an insult. We can discuss it. We can discuss it.
Next category. Thing you've watched that wasn't new. So anything that we've kind of discovered this year that we think is great.
So
that isn't specifically from this year. You pick one thing.
Yeah.
That does
One
tie into
fucking
Joe's
thing.
question, Joe. We're not ignoring you. It's just that does tie into this segment.
We're all going to talk about it in the next segment, which is thing
Yeah.
that got us through lockdown. So that's coming up.
Well, yeah. The thing that you said, Joe, don't worry about it. That's coming back around.
Don't worry about it.
It's coming back
It's
around.
coming back
Don't
around.
worry about it,
It's
my
all-
friend.
all
We're getting
back
there.
around.
'Cause we've
I'm
all
gonna
got the
mix
same
loop. Sam,
one.
do you want
It's
to do? Yeah, Sam, do you want to do yours? Thing you've watched that wasn't you.
Sorry, Potato. I'm sure we'll get to that at the end as well. Sorry, my dude. Yeah, I want to talk about that, so we'll get to the end.
What was
The
that?
anime. I was just about to talk about that then. Or
No, I'll do the anime at the end. 'cause
Yeah,
I
we'll do the
don't-
anime at the end. Yeah.
I don't watch anime, so I have nothing to say on that.
I'll go to the
I was gonna
toilet
think that you
during
watched
that
that wasn't you.
segment.
oh, no. So thing I watched this year that wasn't new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only watched The Crown for the first time this
Okay.
this year. So I caught up on all of that, which was interesting.
You watched it all. You up to date on The Crown?
Yeah. So I watched all of it. So because the latest season came out this year, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've not watched the latest 2 seasons, I don't think. Is it 2 with Olivia
Yeah,
Colman?
well-
Or is there only 1 with Olivia
Yeah.
Colman?
It's 2 where they changed up the cast and stuff, and then they've got another 2, I assume, with an even new cast after
Yeah,
this.
so-
This 4th.
Yeah, so I've watched the 2 with Claire Foy, which and Matt Smith, which I really loved. Thought they were really, really good. And I've not watched the one with Olivia Colman for some reason, but
It's nice. Certain characters
It's good.
are. Yeah, I like the arc they take Philip in a bit more because in that first 2 seasons, you're just like you, just a prick, you, like,
Yeah.
just bad guy.
I feel like
which-
my kind of like one criticism of it is like that second season ends in a place where I'm like, if it didn't feel like for them to in the 3rd season then jump forward however many years, it felt like the end of season 2 kind of left it at this point where so like I don't think it's too spoilery to say there's kind of this thing of Philip. This is about the British monarchy. If anyone somehow doesn't know what the Crown is, kind of Philip struggling with coming to terms with being lower ranked than his wife, who is the queen, which obviously at that time was like a big thing. Like the man of the household would always be like the head of the household, but obviously she's the monarch. She's above anyone in the nation. So there's all this stuff back and forth of him, and it kind of got to that point at the end of season 2 where he's kind of still kind of coming to terms with that, and then season 2 ends and it just jumps forward like however many decades to season 3 when Olivia Colman takes over, and I was like, all right. I think that's why I wasn't as into season 3, because I felt like season 2 ended at a point where I was interested to see what would happen after that, and it was like, oh right, we're just going to forget the next 20 years or whatever, which was weird. But I think the first 2 seasons are like really, really good. Like TV, whether you kind of like the monarchy, whether you don't like the monarchy, whatever your feelings are on being ruled by our lizard overlords, I think definitely go and watch it.
Is that why she's called Liz? No,
I think definitely go watch it.
I have no frame of reference. Yeah, I have no frame of reference with The Crown, but I like the idea of like the change in the cast every couple of years. I think that's quite an interesting idea.
I do like the idea.
I like the sort of. Yeah,
I really like the idea.
I was quite surprised that thing they did.
But yeah, I feel like season 2 left off in a weird place to then jump forward and change the cast. But apparently, Gillian Anderson's supposed to be like incredible as Margaret Thatcher. So
I've heard that. Yeah,
she is.
Aren't people getting like weirdly aroused by it? Like,
that's never.
Everyone's just like,
I've seen a lot of things on Twitter. People like, I don't feel good about being sexually attracted to Margaret Thatcher.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, dear.
I've seen a lot of those tweets.
Leave that in 2020.
Yeah, leave that behind. There's a streamer I watch called Zaffa Cakes, and there's someone like on his stream called like Thatcher's Ashes and like Thatcher's prolapse stainless and stuff. It's just like Jesus.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Don't know, I didn't have to bring that up. I just did because it's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
He just reads them out all the time, like unwittingly. It's like, oh fuck's sake, you've done me this. To read that. Yeah, I've not seen The Crown, so I don't have anything to.
No, I was just saying.
I think I just have such
disdain for the monarchy.
I was gonna say I have such a. Oh, sorry, you cut out a bit there for me.
No, I was just saying. Do you just have such disdain for the monarchy you don't want to watch it?
That's literally what I was about to say. I hate the monarchy so much. I refuse to watch it.
Literally before
I hate the concept of the monarchy so much.
Literally just before you came back, I said it's great TV. Whether you like the monarchy, whether you don't, I suggest kind of watching it because I think it is good TV.
To be fair, after all 4 seasons, it's not made me like the monarchy. If anything, I'm like, they're all kind of
well, it's literally written by a guy who doesn't like the monarchy.
It might radicalise Rob.
Yeah,
Might radicalise Rob. Best he don't watch it.
It's written by a guy who doesn't agree with the monarchy, doesn't he? So yeah, basically. So I think it is very good TV. Just pretend it's Game of Thrones or something, you'll be fine.
There's no dragons.
There was a dragon, so
the dragons
season 1 and 2 only.
Apart from Maggie Thatcher, eh?
Got her. Matt, what was your
yeah? So
new thing that was actually old though?
Yeah, so I've watched like a lot of stuff this year that is kind of. I spent this year kind of
weird flex.
I've watched a lot of things. I would have rather have been working and earning money, but yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that I've watched this year because I've used it as stuff hasn't been coming out. Used it as kind of an opportunity to catch up on a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna have to go for all 7 Fast and Furious films. No, I'm joking. That's definitely not what I'm talking about.
No!
For anyone that doesn't know, I watched
wanted it that so much.
I watched all 7 Fast and Furious films in one day and live streamed the whole thing. There's highlights on Twitter.
All your segments just plugs for things that you've done.
Basically, yeah. Stuff on YouTube about that.
Done a lot this year.
I've done a lot. It's been a successful year. No, there's a lot of stuff to watch, but I think what I'm gonna have to go with, and it's been a hard choice actually, would be Succession, the TV series from Adam McKay and Will Ferrell.
On my list.
Which is basically a TV series around like a kind of a Fox Corp kind of company owned by Brian Cox, not our Brian Cox, the old Brian Cox.
Not the scientist.
Not the scientist.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, not that
Look
Brian
at the
Cox.
Stars.
The other Brian Cox.
I want you to bleed them dry. Make sure that their company never comes back. I hate them. I don't know what the series is.
I would kill for I'd kill for a deep fake of that Brian Cox in Succession. But yeah, basically Brian Cox is like the head of this kind of, he's kind of a Rupert Murdoch kind of figure. owns all these news corporations, and then it's kind of about he's like getting old, had some health issues, so it's about his family, kind of who's going to succeed him in taking over the company, and they've all got their own thing going on, and it's by the guy that did like The Big Short and Vice, and it's such a good TV show. Like it's funny, it's dramatic, it's like tense, it's just really really good. I'd suggest anyone kind of.
Is it Sky over here? Now TV?
Yeah, Now TV over here. Because if you've got Sky Atlantic, then you can watch on Sky. I think it's an HBO show. And it's just so good. Like, the drama's just really, really good. The comedy's, like, hilarious. And it just kind of, like The Big Short and like Vice, just treads that line perfectly between you laughing and you going, oh, God, no. It's a really fantastic series. Go and watch it.
I remember hearing about it like last year or maybe year before even, whenever it first kind of came out, and it just wasn't available anywhere here. So I just never. It was one of those things where I was like, it's been on my list for so long, and now
just honestly, like, it's worth the subscription for Now TV and just like binge it in like a month.
I've got Now TV.
Then no excuse.
My thing's a Now TV thing.
No excuse.
No excuse. No, I've got an excuse because I've been binging something else. I'll go straight into it actually because it's a good segue in it. Yeah. So I got into a little known show called The Sopranos. Not many people know about it, and people just never really talk about it. But it is one of those shows that I've always wanted to watch. Like, I love Godfather, I love Goodfellas. I don't know what this thing about gangster films in there that everyone just loves. But what I think is genuinely brilliant about Sopranos is I think it's so it's like late 90s, early 2000s. It's so far ahead of its time in the stuff that it deals with. Like, I was genuinely watching it thinking, this is a storyline in 2002. They've done this. It's absolutely mad.
It kicks off like the whole first. I mean, I imagine it's because you're further along. I think I stopped watching after like season 3, season 4, and I want to jump back.
I'm in season 6. I've not finished it. Yeah, so I'm in the last season.
Yeah, but like the idea that it's about essentially a mobster looking after his mental health, like that is quite like forward thinking again for like. I mean, it's a great concept for a TV show when you think about it. Like, you know, if you can imagine someone pitching that and being like, it's a mob boss who goes to therapy, and that's like one of the through lines of the series. You're like, oh shit, that's pretty interesting. Like,
it's amazing. I think it's genuinely. I think a lot of it has dated. Like, I think some of the shots are very 90s, very early 2000s. I think some of the performances are quite hammy, but also quite funny. Like, the weird thing about it is it tackles so many different kind of genres and themes. Like, there's bits that generally we were watching like the first season saying, are we supposed to find this funny? Because I kind of expected, like Godfather, just really dark. Like, Godfather doesn't really have moments of humor in it, does it? I just kind of expected this really dark, kind of horrible thing. And even Goodfellas, like, the funny bits are kind of quite scary, but there's genuinely kind of humor in it. And I think, like you said, it tackles like mental health, but also like male toxicity, gay rights, racism, feminism, addiction, just relationships. And it does that great thing that like all kind of genre things should do, like whether it's horror or a mobster film or an action film, where it doesn't really matter what the genre is, it tackles issues through that lens of the mobster film, which I think is really good.
Sorry, I like, Matt hurting his hand really made me laugh then because he's on mute. It became like a
just whacked his hand.
Silent movie.
Yeah, it really hurt.
But genuinely, I think I put it off watching it for ages. I know Matt's got it on DVD. You should definitely watch it.
Yeah,
although it is
like
on Sky or
box set, and I'm just like, it's just it looks like so much.
Every time I see an episode, I'm like, this. I can't believe they're actually, because his daughter's quite like woke in it, and it's genuinely like teenagers now on Twitter talking to boomers. Like, it's genuinely that, but 20 years ago. And I'm like, I used to have hope that things would change, because now I'm like, young people are engaged and are listening to the issues, and now I'm like, it's the same thing. It's just a cycle. We just become the boomers. It doesn't get any better, which is quite depressing. But I genuinely think that, like, it does address those things really well. Just lots of different social issues just addressed brilliantly. I absolutely love it, and I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I really want to jump back on it, but I don't know whether to start it all over again because it's been genuinely years. But then, like, I don't know. I think I might give it a go and then just sort of go, am I getting bored by watching these over again?
I think there are only 10 episodes the first few seasons, so there's not like loads.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe I was only watching one a night. I'm a different man now. I can handle more.
I'll be up all night
so I like
watching
it.
the full season.
I'm up. I can leave it.
But yeah, I mean, obviously everyone's recommended The Sopranos to everyone since it was like the first big TV thing, wasn't it? I suppose when TV got serious.
Yeah, that's like the thing that everyone made everyone go, wow, TV can be like better than films in some ways.
Well, I was gonna say was that at around the same time or before or just after The Wire? Because it feels like The Wire and The Sopranos are the two like things that sort of defined the HBO show and like that cinematic, hard-hitting drama that would be on TV and like really up the ante. But that definitely feels like one of the forefathers of that.
I guess it was around the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think that there are bits which are a little bit hammy, a little bit, like I said, 90s, 2000s.
Yeah, of the time.
I think genuinely the issues that it addresses are just really good. And yeah, you still get the cool kind of mobster stuff as well if you're kind of into the horrible stuff.
I know we're going to re-chat later, but Harriet's just made a statement. I don't think anyone's actually watched The Wire. I think everyone just constantly wants to watch The Wire. I think that's my Mandela effect theory that like no one's actually seen The Wire. They just know they need to.
That's definitely true. That might be next on my list actually after Succession. Guff, what was your?
I had. I'm assuming we're non-specific about TV or film, but I think the one that I've got a few honorable mentions, which I'm sure we'll go through at the end, or maybe we won't. But I have a few anyway. But I think the one I'd give Mike.
We'll scream them over everyone.
One that like I'm gonna give a quick mention to this. I don't want to just give it an honorable mention, but I watched. Is it called The 13th? It's about the 13th Amendment.
Oh yeah,
that's phenomenal. Yeah,
that was a really good film. And like I think did you two make a did an episode on it, didn't you?
Yeah, me and Sam did like a podcast on it because it was one of them that it was back when we were doing the film club where people voted. Then we did the podcast like not live, and we were very thingy about doing a podcast on it or not. Like for anyone that doesn't like 13th is a film about kind of just like systemic racism within America and how the whole justice system is set up to discriminate against black people in America. And as 4 white people, we were, it was one of them weird ones that we're like, should we be talking about this? How much should we say about it if we are going to talk about it? And I know at the time we were very cautious about how much we were saying and how much we would, kind of putting things out there sort of thing. But it's such a great film. Like, sorry, Guff, I'm kind of hijacking
I think it's an important.
What you were going to say.
No, you're right. You're right. Like that pretty much sums up a lot of what I was feeling about it. But I think that's it's. I think it's an important film to watch. Like, it's very educational. It's very. I think especially with everything that's gone on this year, it felt like a very important watch because I know the BLM movement has been around prominently for a good few years now, but obviously this year it was very significant to the events of 2020, and like I think. Watching that with that in mind, it was very thought-provoking, and I do think everyone should watch it. I do think it was really interesting. Oh, there's a cat.
I think that's my takeaway message from that is like just everyone please watch it.
I think it's
probably the most how you think about things.
It's the most important film I watched this year without sounding like
woke culture and
a fucking Guardian reviewer. Super woke. I think it was genuinely like the most important film I've watched this year. It's like it's genuinely very significant, and I think. And like I've had friends who've sort of they're not ignorant and they're not like obviously racist or anyway or like, but they've definitely maybe not as got much of an understanding. And I'm like, that film clears up so much. That film sort of helps you understand. And I think especially as like British people, like not getting maybe the same TV coverage as like the BLM movement was getting in America and things like that. And obviously some of the stuff that was being said on US media seems to like have been very different to what was actually happening around the BLM movement. I think watching that documentary I think it just shines a light on it that I think especially people in the US probably should watch it. It very much is a very important film. But I think that's I wanted to sort of give a shout out to that one because I thought 100%. It was like very important.
Yeah, I think me and Sam said the same thing. We were like talking about it throughout the podcast, and we're just like, by the end we were just like, you shouldn't be listening to us talk, 2 white guys talk about this film, about this. Just go and kind of watch the film and as you said there, like people have seen it that are maybe not as educated about the problems or as kind of open to the problems as other people. Like even as someone like I consider myself quite, well informed on what the issues are and progressive. Like I was very shocked by some things in that film.
Oh yeah.
Like so, I think whoever you are, however much you feel you are informed, like it's gonna tell you something that you probably don't know, unless like you. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like, however, for want of a better word, woke you think you are. I think that film has something to tell you that you potentially don't realize or don't know.
I think because it's very socio-political as well, and I think it sort of ties into how there's that climate in America affects sort of has an influence around race and things like that, and how it's influenced by race and things like that. So it's not just clear cut about racism; it's like socio-political as well, and I think it's very interesting. But that's one I wanted to mention, and I didn't want to just really give it an honourable mention. I think like it was a bit more something worth talking about. And I don't mean to sort of like change the topic drastically from such an important thing.
Borat 2.
But that is quite a modern thing in general. But probably the oldest thing that I've watched that I'm sort of rediscovering this year and like watching all the way through was Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Just watch that now.
I've still not watched it, man. I've still not watched it.
I watched a bit of it. I know. I watched a bit of it while it was on TV, and I genuinely love it. Oh, have I gone? Oh, I got a weird sound in my ear that I've gone. I watched that all the way through finally, and I was like, fuck. I've not had like a season finale of a series like just that satisfying in a while. There's been a lot of disappointing season finales over the last couple of years. And that was, and considering obviously it's an older show and everything, but it was fantastic. I actually think I'd watched it because it was just on TV at one point, the series finale. I watched it years ago, and I didn't really get any of the progression that had happened with characters. I didn't get a lot of the references and like the impact of it. Watching it all the way through and then getting to the end, I was like, this pays off so well. That final episode is such a good payoff to that series. And it's obviously like it starts off a lot more fun. And the penultimate episode is like a really nice sort of greatest hits episode where it's almost like a highlight reel of like everything that's happened up to that point, but told in like a really fun way. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's told in like a really interesting way where it is essentially just like, here's what you need to know to catch up to the final episode. But it's told in like a really fun way, like, and it's very self-referential as well. Like you can tell that it's the writers sort of making jokes about themselves a little bit, and they reference maybe points of the series where maybe you can imagine the fans have gone, that's a plot hole. Like we've got to the last series and you've not explained this, and they make a joke out of it in this episode. And it is very much a way of wrapping up that series and sort of going, we're about to go into the end. Here's a way of like wrapping it up nicely and sort of like setting up the last episode in a way that I've not really seen on a kids show as well. Like, and it's not too heavy, of course, but it's still really interesting. And I think it's a phenomenal show. And I'm very excited because Legend of Korra has actually come on Netflix UK finally. So I'm going to start watching that soon.
It's decent.
I've heard it's a lot more grown up in the way it's sort of told and the themes they tackle. But I am very excited to watch it. But that is a show that if you haven't watched it and you're a fan of animated stuff, I would go and watch it. It's really.
I was going to say I've heard a lot of people. That's like the one anime show that I'm actually like. Everyone's talking about it. I should probably watch it.
It's a lot of fun.
Apart from Dragon Ball Z, which
Netflix,
is the only other anime show I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a show where you can tell the people who made it give a shit. Like, and especially considering like everything that's like what this year they were planning on doing a Netflix live action version, and they've left it because they were like Netflix aren't sort of following the vision we had for it. And I'm very curious to see what that ends up being. But I'm also like I kind of respect them for it because they're like they know what
racism.
It's like the Dragon Ball Z live action.
Oh no, we're not talking about that.
Talk about it.
Live action Avatar: Last Airbender, and we don't talk about that either.
We don't talk about that either. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about it. Well, the only thing we do talk about is bloody Overwatch.
Should we not read some of the chat?
We do not. Oh, yes. Sorry, we are doing chat.
We've had quite a bit of chat.
I was going to say, don't do honourable mentions because I've got a full list of honourable mentions.
I said,
do chat. Do chat. Yeah.
Do chat. Where are we? Joseph really enjoyed The Handmaid's Tale. It's something I started watching and never really finished for some reason.
I've got that on DVD and I need to get into that.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
I think learning that Elizabeth Moss as a Scientologist kind of puts me off things. It's like Tom Cruise.
Really?
I'm like, once I know they're a Scientologist, I'm like, oh, fuck that, man. Can't be asked.
Ouch.
Ed says JoJo Part 5. It's the only anime I'm still keeping up with. Super detailed answer about anime. Oh yeah, so you mentioned anime. I don't really watch anime.
No.
If anyone has another anime,
I don't watch a lot. No, actually, this'll things that got me through lockdown. I'll bring up an anime in that. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But
Hat says she loves the book but not watched it all yet. Handmaid's Tale. My girlfriend enjoyed the series that much. She went out and bought the book as soon as she finished it. I really need to catch. I don't know why I stopped watching it because it's really good and a really good cast as well, including a Scientologist. Potato watched Band of Brothers this year. Really good. Probably one of the better World War II shows.
Band of Brothers.
Yeah,
really
again.
Really good.
I was gonna say, am I right in saying that's HBO as well? Because it feels like that's almost like the unsung hero of that. Like as I mentioned, like almost the forefathers of HBO shows. It feels like Band of Brothers is also one of them that came out around at the same time.
Kind of very like Saving Private Ryan kind of vibes.
Yeah, a bunch of Ghibli movies too. I've got a load of them on DVD that I've just never watched.
Yeah, I need to watch them now. They're on Netflix.
I don't know why.
Should do.
Love, Death and Robots on Netflix.
That's supposed to be really good.
I've heard that's amazing.
Is that
the guy who?
It's a load of shorts, isn't it? Love, Death and Robots.
Yeah.
Is it? I've not heard of it. I've never heard of it.
No, it's supposed to be really good.
It's like an anthology.
Yeah.
Anthology series. Is it the guy who made the Castlevania series? Is it like produced? Someone in chat might be able to tell me, but like, is it the guy who produced the Castle? Because that's a great show as well.
That is, you're right. Yeah.
That's a show that I watched this year, only really recently, but I thought it was quite good. Was Blood of Zeus, which is made by the same animation team at least who did Castlevania. So it's like an anime, but it's inspired by Greek mythology, and that was quite good. It wasn't as good looking as Castlevania. I fucking loved it, mate. You know I did.
Just anime, Greek mythology, ticking all the boxes.
Anime, Greek mythology. No,
with the two brothers.
There was actually two brothers. It's about two brothers. No, I am.
That's an in joke no one's getting. Just.
I didn't think of that until you just brought it up, but yes, it is exactly about two brothers. No, fuming. No, I am. I'm like cellophane. You can see right through me. No, I've got yeah, that's that. It's not as good looking as Castlevania, but it is very, very good. It is very, very good. I recommend if you watch Castlevania, you like it. Watch that, you'll like it.
Hat started watching Dawson's Creek and doesn't care.
I started laughing when I read this.
I thought. Don't know why I carried on. Just feel like you have to finish. I mean, I get that, but also just stop watching it, please.
Yeah, because Rob catches some of it and he's just like, "Turn this off."
Yes, it's terrible. It's awful. Hanso kept on around with some classic.
My life to get older.
Kept on around with some classic Always Sunny. I've never watched Always Sunny.
Well, that's going to be that's going to be the next segment. What kept your spirits up and you kind of kept you up in lockdown?
Yeah.
It is going to be, but we still got some more comments. So
I love Always Sunny. I've not watched the last couple of years actually. I've not watched the last couple of seasons, but I do love Always Sunny.
Just a sorry to change the subject. Any of you watched The Irishman? I did. I liked it quite a lot. Matt saw it. He did not like it.
I did, and I thought it was fine. Like, Scorsese is one of my favourite directors of all time, and Goodfellas is probably one of my top 5. I watched Goodfellas about 2-3 days before I watched The Irishman, and it's a far superior film, in my opinion. I didn't think Irishman was bad. It just didn't do a lot for me.
I liked it a lot, but yeah, I agree. I don't think it's one of his. It's better than that fucking Monk one he did. That was awful. Ham says, glad that the docuseries about black rights are becoming more prevalent. People don't realise what's going on right in front of them until it gets brought to light. And sometimes they still don't realise when they're told because they don't want to know, which is sad.
You can almost, you know what's really, before you go, like, I've said to people, like, you should watch this, it's really good, and you can see them glaze over, and you're like, cool. And it's really upsetting when you're like, it's really important, it's really good, it's really.
I want to be able to tell racist jokes down the pub,
and you can just see them glaze over, and you're like, "This is." I'm glad I'm talking to people.
Yeah, it's like
Governor Becker from uni, but she's my best friend, and the amount of shit she gets from people is genuinely astonishing. And I can imagine the experience of Black Americans has to be so much worse.
I'm not being funny. Like where we went to uni, where like you lot live, it's not the most progressive place in the world, I imagine. From the very little experience I had there as a white man as well, I didn't experience any of it, but like I know from the area and stuff, I can't imagine it being very progressive. So that sucks that she's experienced that, but it's unfortunately not surprising, which is like one of the worst things about it is that you sort of hear it and you go, I'm not surprised, and that sucks. That sucks.
It does. On a cheerier note, Potato watched Atla this year as well. It's nice seeing it all together and not bits and pieces here and there whenever it was on TV. I don't know what that is, but
Atla is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. That was how
down with the lingo.
Not down with the kids.
I'd watched bits
down with the kids,
man. I'd watched bits and bobs, and then I was like, finally gonna. And like, it's one of my best mates' favorite animations of all time, and I was like, I need to watch this. I need to like give it some time, and I didn't realize how short it was because it's only is it 3 series?
It's
it 3
really
or 4
short,
series?
isn't it? Yeah,
it's 3.
I didn't realize that until I looked.
Really
and I was
short,
like,
surprisingly.
really
yeah,
short.
that's what I mean. I was like, in the third, I knew the final season ended with a particular arc, and we got to that arc, and I was like, oh shit, like this is it. Like I didn't realize, but it's which is why I think it's even more recommended now because I'm like, it's so easy to digest, and considering all like 20 minutes an episode, it's really easy. Just I think it's one of those shows where you'll probably put it on in the back. A lot of people put it on in the background, and then they'll probably start focusing. Like it's one of those you'll probably the first few episodes of like very much sort of like kiddie and whatever, and you'll sort of watch them, but then eventually you'll sort of like get more into it, and you'll be like, oh fuck, I'm involved now.
Hard getting stuff like
I'm invested.
We do. Yeah.
Okay, last 3 categories. The first category, thing getting you through lockdown. I mean, we all have Overwatch.
We all have the same thing, right?
So let's keep it brief because we took a lot about Overwatch, but genuinely, like, I think
how many shots do we do on this segment?
How many shots? Yeah, this is a shot safe zone. So I think like
it's like Homer on the Treehouse of Horror where he just gets fed the donuts.
Just
we've been going 20-minute hours. We'll keep it pretty quick.
No,
but Overwatch, is a first-person shoot. People are still here, but I mean, just don't want to bore them. And it is going as a live as a recorded podcast out, which might not be as entertaining if it's just as rambling about Overwatch for
Jay. If you're listening on repeat, you're the only person listening to this all the way through.
I hope you like Overwatch.
He doesn't.
So basically, like you played Overwatch like years ago when it first came out. I got it and played I think a few times with you and a few times with our friend Paul. I never got into it. So Overwatch is like a 6v6.
That sentence is so mental.
It is, isn't it?
It's
like
I mean,
Rob saying I never got into Overwatch is one of those mental statements I think I've heard all year.
So I like played it. I really played it on my own. Like I really enjoyed playing it on my own. I don't enjoy as much playing it on my own nowadays as I did back then. Sometimes I look at it and go, how did I used to play this on my own? Because I love playing it with like my mates. The time like Rob played it with us,
doesn't feel like you do.
Don't know, because you're dragging my SR down. That's why. I'm plat, baby. Spoilers for if you've been watching my plat to plat back to plat series. I'm in plat again. No, the times we played like with other people, we had people that had literally been banned for like 2 weeks because they rage quit that much on Overwatch. So it wasn't the most wholesome of communities that we played in. So yeah, Will, if you're listening to this now or back, talking about you and Dom
Thanks
as
for
well.
ruining the game for everyone.
You guys ruining Overwatch for us.
You're
back
the worst
then.
sort of people. You're a disgrace to Overwatch. Yeah. You're a disgrace to your family.
You got no friends.
You got no friends.
You got no fans.
You.
But like Overwatch is like a 6v6 first-person shooter, kind of team-based, objective-based game. But like the things that I never got first time round was like the nuances of how well that game is designed and like what different characters are for and different character abilities and how actually technical that game is. And like there's 2 sides to kind of the Overwatch thing that have kind of helped me get through lockdown personally. And one is like jumping on almost every night for a long period of time, playing with you guys and just having like something social to do and play and just have a general chat. And I think like there's something we all watched as like RKG. We watched the RKG series on how video games are good for your mental health and how just like a lot of people are doing Zoom calls over lockdown. And talking to someone on a Zoom call directly just to log on is just really fucking awkward and horrible, and I hate it. But like logging on and just playing a game and just talking about the game, but then also just chatting in general is just generally quite a nice thing to do when everyone's stuck inside. And then the second part of it for me was like really getting into how the technicalities of Overwatch and just watching streams and analysis and just trying to get...
favorite movie is Moneyball.
Yeah.
just analysis.
Just trying to get better at the game and just being like, what do I do in this situation? And just watching streams and videos and trying to get the grind on my SR up and just trying to get generally better at something. Even though I mean, I suppose everything at the end of the day is a useless skill because we're all going to die and everything's pointless. But it does feel a bit pointless.
In the grand scheme of the universe, nothing really matters. We all get blasted up into space eventually.
Brian Cox is back.
It's amazing that we'll all die meaning nothing.
Yeah. But like the thing, I don't know what it is about it, but that sense of like just trying to get good at something is just quite satisfying. And actually seeing the progress of what I've made since I started playing competitive Overwatch is just quite nice.
Oh yeah, like I can't remember how that conversation even started. Of like,
I don't know,
because it was like I like played it when it first came out like quite a lot on my own, and then played it with you and a few of our friends a little bit, but then never played with people again. Carried on my own, and then just stopped playing like completely. And I remember a couple of times I tried to get back into it, and I don't know why I stopped. And then like, why did we start? Why did I say to Guff and Sam, why did I say you guys need to download this game, and Rob, you should re-download it and we can all play it together? Like, Guff, you seem to know why this came about. I can't remember why this happened.
Sam knows, yeah. It was because we started playing Apex. Because I don't know if I was saying it to you that like we really liked playing Apex. Like, because obviously I played it with Tom and Harry quite a lot, and I think again it was like just after I'd started to like enjoy it again because of Doom. So it's we all have Doom to thank for Overwatch, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It should all be your favorite game of the year, Doom Eternal. It got us back into Overwatch. No, but like I started to enjoy Apex. It's full circle. Started really enjoying playing Apex again. I don't know how it started where I was like, you should jump on, but I was like, I think you should really enjoy it. And we, the three of us started playing. And I think because we were sort of talking and communicating, I wonder if you sort of went, this is how Overwatch is played, sort of made that connection in your head. And then was like, you should buy it because and I think you'd started to play it again from what I can gather, or maybe something like that. And you were like, I think you should get it. Like, I think it'd be really fun to play as a team because it is a team-based game. And like, again, like, you follow like the IGN UK podcast a lot and they talk about it a lot. So you obviously had it on your radar for a lot longer in like, other spheres apart from just playing it yourself. So I think like, obviously it just came around, but it was because we'd started playing Apex together that you were like, you should jump on. And then me and Sam bought it. I bought it for double the price I should have done because 2 weeks later it went to 16 quid and I didn't have a fucking job. So I was fuming.
How many hours you played at that, Elo? You've got your money's worth.
Nah!
Oh, yeah. That's what I think.
I want that 16 quid back.
That is the thing, though. I think, like, the fact that... Oh, hell. Hey, Zelda. Speaking of video games.
What's Zelda's main? What main is she?
She's a May
main.
That makes sense.
May.
Yeah.
It's like the fact that I think how much I spent...
What, you threw her?
Yeah.
Yeet!
The fact that I think about how much I played that game and how much I spent on it, which is probably like 30 quid. And like this competitive season alone, I've played like 75 hours. I think I've played like nearly 400 hours of that game. Do you know what I mean?
It's like when people,
I'm the same. Yeah,
it's like
I played more than you now. I've actually overtaken you.
It's like that mad thing when people say like, "Yeah, you do."
Challenge accepted.
No, but do you know, like people say like video games are expensive, and you're like,
"I'm more of a fucking loser than you."
Yeah, well, yeah. But do you know when people say like it's expensive, like 50 quid, 70 quid, that's a lot of money. I'm like, if I'm playing it for 400 hours, like that's...
I think that's the problem though. There's some games that don't. Oh, sorry. Side note, I meant to send this to the group chat earlier actually, but apparently the Hogwarts game that's coming out is 70 fucking quid.
What? Yeah, well, yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Every next gen game is going to be 70 quid. They've announced that.
No, they haven't.
Yes. That's going to be.
I'm not happy about.
That's a standard price for next gen games. You're behind the times, my friend.
Disgusting.
You're behind the times.
That's disgusting.
Wait, mate, you're complaining paying like 20 quid for Overwatch.
Freddo's used to be 2p. Freddo's used to be 2p.
Also, wait, just go as we were still on Overwatch a second. I think the fact that Matt was doing what series you did?
Play of the day.
where he played it.
That really helped me, to be fair.
Play the Day.
Play the Day. That one. I think that was also. Was doing that. He was like, "You all should buy this game."
Yeah, that's true.
Play this.
Oh no, that was afterwards, wasn't it?
No, because
we'd already started.
I've ordered Overwatch as Matt was filming the.
He's looked through.
Like
what?
I just checked back because I was thinking, I was like, I'm sure we were playing Apex and said we should play Overwatch, but then I think Matt may have either just been starting doing the Play of the Day series because then we started. Then me and you, because you ordered Last of Us 2, you pre-ordered Last of Us 2 and Overwatch on the same day. According to you, what you sent anyway.
Yeah.
Oh. Sam's got the facts, facts in the chat.
Talking about
mad. Because I'm sure I had a frame of reference to the characters when I was watching you do that, when those series episodes were coming out.
Maybe later on.
Maybe you'd started it in maybe like a couple of days.
No, that's what I mean. I think Matt started Play of the Day, and then he was doing it whilst we were playing Apex, and then it was probably all just a bit like, you know what, why don't we start playing this game? Like, because Matt was getting back into it, and he was like, this is quite a lot like what I'm doing at the minute. And it was probably why we all ended up buying the game for it.
Such a mad way of like envisioning that history.
That's what I mean.
Like,
I can't really remember. It's such a big part of our lives.
Prevalent in my mind. Yeah.
Like,
I think it was probably literally a combination of like, oh, we should probably try this other game.
That's
like,
mad, isn't it?
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know.
That shit is wild.
Not to plug, but yeah, Play of the Day was a series I did where every day I played a different Overwatch character. Was it like June or July or something like that? And every day I put a video out of me playing a different Overwatch character.
Before that.
Wait, you mean in Sigma at that point?
Was I what?
No, he was still a soldier main.
I'm thinking, have you ever looked back on like, Sigma play?
Oh yeah, I watched the video of me playing Sigma. Who, for anyone that is like watching that doesn't know Overwatch, is like a tank character who is now like my main character, who I've like got to the highest ranking of any of my characters ever. I'd never played him before Play of the Day. You like go and watch that video back. I'm like, I've never touched him before.
You're watching history in the fucking making,
and I'm like, I do really.
He's got his feet out. It's gross.
Oh, it's gross. It is gross. So gross. But
now he loves his feet.
Do you know? I like played the first game, and I was like, I've no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing all right. Like it's
like
it's all right, isn't it?
Watch back his record, and just like what's like.
Yeah.
Your new main now.
It's good. It's.
I wanted to go on.
That's kind of. I'm so glad I persuaded you all to get into it. Like, because maybe we'd have had Apex, but it's like, as Rob was kind of saying about that whole thing of like RKG, that whole series on games are good for you kind of things. Like, obviously, like Guff and Sam, you two, and like Rob as well. Like, Rob's my brother, for anyone that doesn't know. And like, you two are two of my best mates. Like,
no one told me.
We're related, mate. We're related. But like, obviously, like I saw you quite a lot. Guff and Sam saw you guys quite a lot, and I think like it's easier to like Zoom call with people that your mates that you don't see that often, because it's a bit more normal than kind of going, what you've been up to, what you like. But your mates that are like your best mates, it's quite hard to like just sit down and have a Zoom call because you're so used to see each other or talking to each other every 2-3 days or whatever, that it becomes like a weird thing of going, well, we've got nothing, not that like in a horrible way, but nothing to talk about because we see each other quite a lot of the time. Whereas like playing a game together just becomes a thing of, we're going to naturally go, I watched this, I saw this, did you see that article, did you see that meme or whatever. Whereas like a Zoom call, everyone's focusing on one person going, this is my update of this little Zoom call we're doing. Whereas like playing a game becomes like a completely different thing where you can just enjoy and hang out. And like us three have never done a Zoom call, the three of us, because even though we're best mates, like why would we have to? Because
only for content. Only for content.
Yeah, only for content. No, but do you know what I mean? No, like that's the thing though. Like we don't need to, because we chat like every 2-3 nights a week because we're playing games together.
Yeah, we're not doing it. We're not doing it for the social element of it, like a lot of people are, because we're doing this instead. Yeah,
it's like why would we need to? Because we catch up every couple of nights, and it's not like a meaningful catch up of going, we should have a Zoom call and we should catch up and we should check
right, cool, I'll go
what each other are doing like each night. No, but you know what I mean? Like, just having a Zoom.
It's not meaningful. It means fuck all to me. But no. But you sad cunts. I know it makes you feel better. So.
No, it's very meaningful. It's very meaningful. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a meaningful thing of going. I meant meaningful in terms of us going. The three of us should have a Zoom call and talk about what's going on in our lives right now, and that's the sole purpose of this call.
Sorry,
Like it
I
just
have made a joke
becomes
about
a
this to
thing.
like a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine like I used to work with, and I was talking about how like,
friend. Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
I was like, that was a bit left field actually.
The best thing I've seen this year, in
More like
between us.
unwarranted,
In
actually.
between
He's
us.
I've
having
had
a
a beer.
Jaipur X. He's having his Jaipur.
He's not even a
I gave
Jaipur
you
X,
boys
mate.
some Jaipur
He's on
X.
Hoppy Xmas.
There were 4 Jaipur X's left in the shop, right? 4 left. I gave 1 to you 3 and 1 to Connor, and didn't even keep one for myself. That's how
Oh,
much.
that is
bloody
lovely.
legend
actually.
I am.
That's
What a
phenomenal.
saint.
That is the sacrifice. What is that you're drinking actually? Because I've not seen that before. Is
Sam,
that
you
Brewdog?
It's a Hoppy Xmas.
I got robbed
Oh,
that.
that's pretty. I've not seen that. That's really cool.
I'll put you that.
Oh,
man.
very nice.
Sam, you still can't be
No, I was-
drinking your Jaipur, right?
I'm
No, you
waiting.
lifted the can up and I was like, that's
done
got to
for
be
about an hour.
dry. That's...
I was teasing him. I was saying thank you,
Oh,
Rob.
okay,
for the-
that's good. Because I'm like, I'm into my 3rd beer. How are you still on the Jaipur X?
I know.
No,
Well,
I was gonna say it. Sorry, my friend was saying that. I was like, the amount of times I've like just said something fucking shite to use that I know is dead boring, but I've just obviously not told anyone. Because it's like you lot are the only people I've spoke to on a daily basis that I've like started a conversation that I'm like, I've said that's boring as fuck. And like the response has been like appropriate because it's been like, oh yeah. And I'm like, well, that falls into the fucking boring bin, doesn't it? I'll leave that one alone. But no, I'm only like, but I think that's the thing. Like, this has been, I mean, I put like gaming, streaming, all that sort of stuff down as like things that have got me through. But like, you know, and again, like the RKG thing, I think I think that sums up better what we're talking about, and I think we all sort of resonated with that, especially because of everything you've just said. But the RKG series games are good for you is bang on, I think, where. Like, not to get too heavy, but I've struggled quite a lot with my mental health over the last, like, 18 months, more so than I think I ever have. And I think the same can be said for a lot of people. This has been a fucking horrible year for a lot of people, and I think it's absolutely fair to say everyone's probably struggled with the mental health in some capacity, in some respect. But I never felt... I enjoyed Zoom calls with friends that I maybe wouldn't do games with, and would normally meet up in person with and stuff like that, but I admit it was a lot more awkward and it was a lot more uncomfortable. If anything, like I had a friend who sort of said that he was like early on in lockdown, he was sort of meeting up with his girlfriend but only like standing at a distance and making sure they could see each other in person. But he was like, he highlighted something for me, which was like, it just feels like a FaceTime call because we're not actually like close to each other. We're not actually doing things normally. We are still at a distance. We're still just talking to each other and catching up with each other, but it's still at a weird distance and, you know, and things like that. And I was like, that's a really interesting take on it. And I didn't think of it that way. And I suppose each to their own. Some people probably found a lot of comfort in still meeting up with friends, and even if it was still distance and everything. But like, I think that was it for me, where it was like coming to do like Overwatch every night or whatever. It was that thing where it was like, oh, this is just normal. This is normal. And I think as well, because we obviously met up for podcasts as often as we could, like this one and things like that, and like, but it was always sort of geared to when Rob could obviously come up to Manchester, so we could record at yours, you know, at Matt, and it was always sort of based on that. While the beauty of sort of this whole experience, I suppose, has been going, actually we can do this more regularly and we can do podcasts regularly and stuff like that, because we all sort of bought the equipment or already had the equipment to do this for the sake of being able to continue over lockdown. So I think we've sort of hit our stride, at least in that respect, a little bit more. Like, I mean, especially with this on this channel, Real Film, like there's so much more that's happened in relation to Real Film this year because I suppose of the time. And that's like the other thing that I've got off was like getting me through lockdown, which is I was made unemployed, which sucked. And like had a massive like negative effect on me, but in a lot of ways it was the best thing that happened to me because like I've had so much more time to sort of dedicate to things that I love and like things like this and streaming and things like that. Like it's been an absolute like shift in gears, and I know that's maybe applies to a lot of other people too. And I know there was like this whole big thing at the start of lockdown where people were like, I've never got into baking, so I'm gonna start baking, and like that's like, you know, that's like one of many things that people were doing. Big baker over here, and like that was it. Like it,
Rob,
yeah, how's that sourdough?
Sourdough's going strong.
Primo sour.
Alive since April or March.
Oh,
I like my
almost a year old. Yes,
Sam sourdough in chat, please.
Sam literally had alerts on his phone to feed his sourdough, so you're going to throw away...
Was that mid-podcast one point?
No, it was mid-filming.
No, it was mid-filming. Glory days.
Yeah.
You're going to celebrate a happy birthday for your sourdough, Rob. Birthday party. Just put a little party hat on the starter. Just like...
Well, hopefully he'll be vaccinated by then, so it's going in the fucking bin.
I can just buy bread from the supermarket.
Some people put some
Yes.
Some people put some good things in.
Let's go.
My dad hates me.
So Ed says Trump slowly melting down more and more on Twitter got me through lockdown. Trump losing the election was a big thing. I think
That was massive, wasn't it?
Probably everyone out. Potato in reference to Overwatch says when it first came out, I'd play a bunch by myself and with friends, but later on I could only play with friends, and now I can't really play it without being bored after the first game. Yeah, I
come and join us.
Both, to be honest. I just like getting a good old grind on, to be honest. And also, not sure it's as complicated as you say. Your intricately designed team can be smashed by a team full of gross roadhogs. That would be true, but that's why they don't let you do that anymore in the game. It's like you will play our way, or you will not play the game.
That's why roll queue's so good, because they go, "You're going to play this way, otherwise you're not playing." It's like the kid that has the ball, and he's just like, if you're not going to play by his rules, he'll take his ball home with him. That's what Blizzard is.
Ed says Overwatch is made up of millions and billions of champions.
Brian Cox, probably.
And it has a Sam's lane, but I focus on my health, getting good at baking. I put a lot of money into my garden over lockdown, and it's helped me immensely with my mental health. However, I now have the same hobby set as an over 65 retiree. That sounds pretty ideal, to be honest.
Does,
Again, I started doing I got really into going to the gym before lockdown. I've kind of kept that up, which I'm pretty pleased with. Started my sourdough, that's smashing that.
Yeah.
And we bought a new house, so we've done loads of the similar sort of stuff. If that makes us old, then I wish I was older.
Yeah. It's like right now I'm not focused on my fitness, but at like first lockdown I was like working out every day, just going, well, I'm not getting anything else going on, so I might as well like do some weights.
So this will stare at the fucking wall.
But
might as well stare at the wall while doing bicep curls.
It was weird though, because like me and my girlfriend Laura, like we obviously couldn't see each other for like 3-4 months during that first lockdown.
Not real.
She's not real. She's in here. But we like for like
it's like Psycho. He just puts a wig on stairs.
Yeah. Like one of the things we did was like we just like FaceTime each other and like did the same workout and stuff like that, and that was like really good for like keeping us both like fit, but also like interacting with each other. And even now we've gone like now we're in tier 4 again, and we can't go to the gym or anything like that, and both want to get fit after Christmas. We've been just like, what's stopping us from doing that like now? Like nothing. We should probably just like start doing that again. Like it's a weird thing of going, that was actually like something that was really good for both of us that we now stopped doing because we can see each other in person, that we're going to start doing again, which is quite nice, because I'm just like, I've not like the kind of interest of working out at home is completely worn off, and I should probably work out again at some point now that the gyms are shut again.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, that was one thing that I did, because I really neglect my fitness.
Mate, you smashed Ring Fit for like a month, and then...
I did like 28 days of like Ring Fit every single day, and that's like the most dedicated I've ever been to exercise. And I mean, I kind of did it. It was like at the end of August.
It was up towards your birthday, or something, right?
And I was like, I'm going to do it every day until my birthday, which was the 22nd of September. And I was like, I'm gonna just do it. And I think it's like overall 28 days in a row where I did it.
Maiden name as well, Guff. Do you want to?
I was like, do I want to say my birthday on stream?
I was going to say that's out there.
It's the end of summer. It's the end of summer. No, but that was it. Like send me gifts. No, don't send me gifts. No, but I really enjoyed that. I mean, I've not touched it since, but I was thinking like New Year, new me. So I was thinking I'll probably get back into it. But that is a game that I almost wanted to say was like the high. I checked whether it was out this year, and it came out last year technically, so I didn't say it, but. Ring Fit, I genuinely think is like really fun, but I think that's it. Like, that's really good though, Sarah. Like Ham, like that's really good. Like that's an amazing thing. Yeah, whether it's 65 hobbies or not.
Nah, man. Haven't you got like we live in a house now with a shite garden, and genuinely over lockdown, it's just I just want to go sit in a nice garden. I think having just I think it said this a lot about people who particularly live in like built up city centre areas where like they don't have access to nice outdoor spaces, and it's so important. I think you kind of can underestimate how important.
I think that's
I absolutely loved sitting in the garden just reading a book for a bit. Like I made that like a thing every night when it was really nice. Like when it was summer, I was just like sitting out there all the time. It was really nice.
I think like so many people.
Potato says I got really into. Sorry, go on.
No, I think like so many people realise things about how they live and what makes them happy over lockdown, that they can just go, yeah, it's not about all this stuff, like just doing simple things like baking or looking after myself or, you know, gardening, stuff like that, like can make you happy rather than, you know, I know like after all this, like I'll probably spend a lot less money because I know me and you, Guff, have said a lot of times, we went out a lot at the start of this year and we spent a lot of money at the start of this year just going out for pints, like apartments it's gonna be nice. Like I don't even care about that. Like if I just chill with my mate in a house, have a few beers, it's a lot cheaper and like there's so many things that people I think will appreciate like a lot more that make them happy rather than, you know, out of everything that's been bad this year and horrendous. Like as you said, like it's been a tough 12 months for most people. Like there'll be certain things that you'll go, do you know what? Yeah, I can take something from that and realise I don't need all that stuff to make me happy. Like, yeah, you need some of it, but there's certain things that I can just live without right now.
Yeah, I just want. I know you're anxious to move on, but I just really want to say, like, I think that I struggled to like stay in, and I worked from home as well, like before being made unemployed. So for about 10 months before sort of lockdown happened, I was like working at home. And I was like, I need to get out of the house. And I think that's natural when you work from home. It's like, it encourages you to go out more. And I was doing a lot more things. I was going to the cinema on my own. I was spending a few hours in cafes, like doing a lot more drawing, things like that. I really enjoyed like having some like time just out and about and doing whatever. So when that went away, I did sort of like struggle a little bit at first. But I think what I've got to say that's come out of this is I've become so much more used to just being at home. Because I did feel like if I had a couple of days at home, I wouldn't be very productive with it, and I'd sort of just lounge about. And not that that's a bad thing to do every now and again, but I would be like, I'd just feel really weird about it. And I was like, I should have been productive, or I should have gone out and done something. Where now I think, and like I used to get like a bit cabin fevery, where I was like, I just need to go out somewhere. I need to leave my house and go somewhere else. I think I've become far more used to being at home in like a much more healthy way. Because I think as well, sometimes me going out, it was like not like unhealthy, like I'm addicted to going out and getting bevied, but I mean like I was just like it was more I just need to be out of my house. Like, do you know what I mean? And it was just like, and I don't think that always had like a positive connotation. But now I think I'm just like, I could spend a couple of days at home. Like, I don't feel the urge to, like, if something, like, don't get me wrong, once I'm able to start going out more, I'm going to go out.
I was like, Guff, you're coming for a pint. You're coming for a pint, mate.
I'm coming for a pint. Well, I was going to say, actually, you mentioned it then when you just like, you know, I'm not necessarily urged to go out to a pub. Don't get me wrong, I can't fucking wait for my first draft in like
weird thing for
Matt. Yeah.
I bet you want to go to a pub.
Yeah, but I was gonna say like I have a friend of me and Sam's who moved round like fairly round the corner from me like a few months ago, and I'm just really excited to go around to theirs and have a cup of tea. That's like one of the first things I'm really excited to do because I've just not done that, and like that'll be really nice. Or a bev, of course. If he offers a beer, I'm gonna take a beer. But like
10 a.m. It's like I
can have a bit. I've had beers at 10 a.m. before.
Potato says, I got ready to cooking in general, but started making bread. Started making baked goods. Yeah, a lot of time for cooking. Very good. I've always cooked, and I like it a lot. And having the extra time was very nice.
Yeah.
Hat picked up embroidery. That's a lie. Again, crap. I'm going to give it a proper try this year. I believe it when I see it. And journaling.
Yeah, when I get sent.
You think you've been making bread? She's been embroidering loaves of bread for you. Why do you think the bread all of a sudden appears? She's been embroidering the bread.
It's my birthday in 18 days. If I don't get something embroidered, I'm out.
Don't encourage it. Encourage it, please. She's also going to journaling. Weirdly, she watched The Fall for the first time and thought this serial killer had proper good journal skills. I need to up my game. She has been doing a lot of journaling. To be fair.
I like
The Fall.
I like the idea that like Hat's trying to become like the superhero of journal making. So it's like if a serial killer is good at making journals, then there needs to be a force of good that is also making journals.
I thought you were
I need to be the Superman to that Lex Luthor. That's what I need to be in the journal world.
I was more thinking I'd wake up one day to a phone call saying my brother's dead and my sister-in-law's on the run. Just like...
Don't watch Mindhunter. You don't want to pick up anything from that.
She has watched Mindhunter. Oh, and now I'm scared.
She's got ideas. She's got ideas.
Potato has offered that 70 quid is $95, and that's insane. Is it really that expensive for you guys? Yes, it is. Because the pound is fucked.
What is
we
that?
won't talk about it on this podcast.
Is that not how expensive PlayStation 5 games are over there? Or next-gen games? Sorry.
Well, he said there's $70, so they've clearly just not... It's not a balance, is it? It's just $70, which isn't 70 quid.
I don't know. And then Hans said, I love lockdown in some ways. Me and Ed have bonded a lot with our kids, but it makes us feel very guilty being stuck in. Our son was born the first week of lockdown.
Jeez.
He's 10 months old and has never met another child, which is fairly depressing. That is really fucking depressing. And
you guys have done like so well just to like last. And like I like no, but like just do you know what I mean? Like it's such a hard thing. Like I left my job in January and I went back to where I worked. It was just like a leisure club recently. And I was chatting to someone there who had a kid not long before lockdown. And they kind of looked at it, and like there were two of them that worked there that had the kid together. And they had like a really positive view on it, just going, if this hadn't happened, we wouldn't have had this time to spend with him because we would have had to have come back to work and like earn money and stuff like that. And it in a way, there's, do you know what I mean? I was really respecting of them, just going, they were both freelance personal trainers, which is hard, but they were also looking at it in a way of going, here's the positives of what we were doing. Like we got to spend a lot of time with their son Leo, like which especially the dad would not have got to have spent with the child and stuff, which I think is like. I think you've got to focus on the positives, haven't you? You've got to look at like what have you learned, have you been able to achieve during this time that's like a really nice thing. And I hope like listening, Ham, I hope you can take some positives that you guys have been able to spend like more time than you maybe would have done during that time.
I was gonna say, I think it's probably the easiest year to focus on the good shit. Like, I know that's like a weird sort of thing to maybe think about, but I think in a year that like I think there's so much in the media, in the news, and just obviously that's been bad about this year. Like it's been so obviously bad, like in so many ways that I think it's, you know, obviously mostly to do with the pandemic, but like there's been so much bad and so much different and so much of a non-year that I think it's almost been easier to identify the good shit. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's a much more positive thing to do, is obviously focus on the positives, and it's better for your mental health to do that as well, and sort of not let yourself get down about it and stuff, and sort of look at what you have achieved this year. And I definitely look at it that way. I'm sure a lot of us do and stuff like that. But I mean, speaking some more from like a baby perspective as well, like that's very much what's happened with like my niece and stuff. Like my sister is a hardworking person, her partner is a hardworking person, and like though my sister would have, you know, was planning on taking time off from her job, she's freelance. It was like she probably has been able to now take more time and like, yeah, and she's one like very, very soon, and it's wild because that's the exact same experience. I think we've got like a load of cousins that have all had babies sort of the same amount of time, so there's a few babies at the moment in the family. So I think when they've been able to see other babies at a distance, which I think has been nice, but I suppose the way I've sort of thought about it, and I don't know if this is like a similar way of thinking about it, but it's almost the idea of this is such a weird part of their lives, where as sad as it might have been that they've not sort of seen babies at such a young age, it'll be like, it's not like they're at school and like it's really that impactful. And then like I feel really sorry for like kids obviously who maybe go to school and things like that, and or maybe don't or were about to or things like that. But I suppose for babies it's not as bad because they're not really aware of as much going on, and they're not as much aware of the fact that they're not seeing anyone. They still just see the family and everything. But
there's still time for them to do that.
Yeah,
but imagine you. Just,
but as well, I imagine you've got.
Can we move on a bit because we're going for 3 hours and we're on a film podcast.
Oh, look at that baby over there. Yeah. That's like you. That is.
And I've got to go in 5 minutes for a Zoom quiz. But yeah, I think like a lot of people have done different things to get through lockdown. We have a couple of categories left. One was the thing you missed most in 2020. So the thing that was like not released or pushed back or whatever, and then also the thing you're looking forward to in 2021.
Things.
which are pretty much the same thing. So I guess we can kind of do it in the same category. The thing I guess I'm looking forward to most in 2020 is like the Marvel Disney Plus stuff. We talked about that in a podcast. We don't really need to go over it. There's a podcast on all the podcasting apps if you want to listen to that. But what Marvel are doing at the moment, I think like Black Widow as well was something I was really looking forward to. But I'm genuinely really excited for 2021 just because of what they've got coming, really.
That's exactly what I've got on my list. It's
I also had a Quiet Place 2. Quiet Place 2 because I loved the first one. And
I forgot all about
we
that.
missed that by about a week. Yeah. That was about a week. We missed that.
It was the same with like Black Widow. It's like 2 weeks away, and then it fucking got cancelled. Obviously, so I'm fuming.
The thing is, I can't believe that A Quiet Place hasn't been released somewhere. Like Marvel is owned by like
no, it was in America.
No, but I mean like on a streaming service or like something. I can't believe like we just haven't been given the opportunity to watch that film. Like with the Marvel like Disney stuff, like Disney's like without like it's such a big corporation. Like with without getting into like the whole politics of the thing, it's like Mulan did shockingly on streaming. It was a £250 million film, which is a £500 million film when you add on marketing, and it made about 80 million in its first couple of weeks, which it should make on its first weekend on streaming. It is done shockingly. Whether it's a good film, whether it's not, whether the political stuff is good or not, it has failed. And that's the reason why all the Marvel stuff has been pushed. Like all the Marvel films anyway have been pushed because Disney realised it's not going to perform for adults on a streaming service. The like kids stuff, they're still going to release on Disney Plus because families will go, do you know what, for 4 of us, this is an okay thing to purchase, to play, but like the adult stuff just won't. At like the end of the day. And it just seems mental that like A Quiet Place is not like a massive big film that has not been sold to like Netflix or Amazon or Apple or Now TV. Like it seems totally crazy that film was supposed to come out nearly a year ago and it's not been sold during this time. So I'm hoping like I don't know who distributes it is holding on to it because they're hoping for a really good cinema release. It just seems really weird that they're not kind of releasing it somewhere. It seems totally crazy.
I was going to say, I think from the trailers and everything, I sort of feel like this film might be a bit more of a blockbuster one than the first one was. And not necessarily, and I hope it doesn't sort of do that too much because I think that's the beauty of the first one is it is a bit more of a subtle film and things like that. I was going to say quiet and I cut me out with a pun. But it was, but no, I think that it seems like it's a whole silent movie. It's the piano or whatever it's called, the pianist. I feel like the trailer is gearing up to a bit more of a blockbuster epic twist on the Quiet Place universe. So I imagine that might be why, because they're probably like, as soon as like reviews come out of it, people might be saying it's a big blockbuster film, go see it. We could probably get a lot of money from this one. And also going off the success of the first one, I think that's probably why they're not doing it. But I hope that's why, and it's like it'll get a big release when it does, like, because it's a shame. One thing as well that we haven't mentioned so far was James Bond. Like I know it's sort of been pushed back so many bloody times now, but I was surprisingly really looking forward to that. I was like very excited for that actually.
I mean, like More Time to Die, am I right?
He was the first one to say it.
Yeah,
Someone get this man a drink.
The thing is, like, that's like something they bank on being involved in the cinema. Yeah. Like I suppose, like the Marvel stuff surprises me more because like they have a service that they can release that thing on that will bring in. Do you know, like MGM, like nearly went bust, like, what was it, 2 years ago or whatever. They don't have a service that they're not in a good state to release like a James Bond film without having like a big income coming from it. Like the Marvel stuff surprises me, well, like the Black Widow stuff surprises me a bit more because they can put it on a service that will maybe then get people, to subscribe just to watch that thing, whereas like MGM don't, but like Marvel aren't even choosing to release that adult stuff on that service because they know from Mulan it's not going to bring in the people they want. And I think it's it's capitalism at the end of the day. Like Disney want to make $1 billion on those films. They won't accept making 500 million on the film. They want to make $1 billion. And the problem is that at the end of the day, you are potentially putting cinemas out of business because you're not willing to make anything less than $1 billion on a film. Because at the end of the day, like when a cinema's going to open in the UK and the US, which are your biggest markets, at the end of the day, when are they going to open again properly to an audience? Summer, autumn,
Yeah,
like
it's hard to tell, innit?
Yeah, you can hold on to that, but maybe like they could be out of business by then. Like you look at big business, like I know people go big businesses can swallow it up. Like not to do a wider context, but Arcadia that owns Topshop, Topman, Burton, literally went into administration this year. Big companies will fail on the back of Brexit and also COVID. If distribution companies aren't willing to support the distribution of the film, the companies that distribute their film, there's not going to be distribution for that film. They're not going to make $1 billion off Disney Plus putting their film out there, but they're not willing to risk the chance of making $500 million on a film by putting it out there like when cinemas open again. And it's like Tenet made like less than a Nolan film usually would, but still made quite a lot of money. But other films weren't willing to do that, and it's just a broken system where they're not willing to make a little bit of less money to support the system which makes money for them. It's totally wrong. Like because the thing
it feels like a game of chicken.
Yeah,
it
does.
It feels like a game. It's like a stalemate where it's like who goes first. Who goes first? I go first. You go first?
Exactly. It's like it's so bad because like I've been to talks with like producers in the industry, and they've said how bad Netflix's model is. Like Netflix was bleeding money before this. They were losing a lot of money because they were just commissioning series and cancelling them when they didn't get the numbers. But now it's like obviously online streaming has become such like a big thing that's kind of saved them. But now like cinemas are really in trouble, and it's just they're not willing to make a little bit of less money to release the film. I mean, now it's a bit different because we're in like lockdowns again and stuff like that. But I feel like the distribution companies need to put in a bit of leeway of going, we're willing to make a little bit of less money just to keep that industry open, because they're not going to make the same amount of money on online distribution. It's a total mess, and I'm like, I know everyone's going on about like hospitality being an industry that's been really, really hit, and it has, and it's really, really bad. But like cinema distribution's an industry that's been like, I'm not talking about View, Cineworld, or Odeon, which have been hit really bad, which is a shame. But all the independent places as well that have been hit really bad that just may not recover from any of this unless basically Disney aren't willing to put their films out anywhere. It's a really sad state of affairs.
If the industry dies, we'll have to call ourselves Real Embroidery. change topics
TV
entirely.
and games.
Just before, I just wanted to say, it'll be interesting, very quick note, it'll be very interesting to see, obviously, as TV shows with Marvel move forward, whether they'll change, because obviously Marvel are very much end one thing, tease the next thing. It'll be interesting how maybe the series don't tie in with the films as much going forward, because Black Widow seems like it's pretty independent of itself. Probably was going to be separate to a lot of the shows and stuff, being a prequel and stuff, but it'd be interesting to see how, especially with Falcon and Winter Soldier now probably getting a firm date, I don't know how that ties in with their current release planning for Black Widow, but I would have imagined those films would have teased each other or helped, we would have seen references to one another, them being similar sort of IPs. So it'd be interesting to see how maybe if Black Widow doesn't get the release in time that they were hoping for, I imagine Falcon Winter Soldier will, because it's TV based. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how that changes. I think it's worth keeping an eye out on. It'd be interesting. Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about that when those series come out and we inevitably discuss them. Yeah.
I think there's probably a good point to stop because we haven't moved for 3 hours.
Godzilla.
Also that.
Get in! Let me in!
That's what I'm looking forward to in 2021. There you go.
Yeah,
good. Call him off.
Witcher Season 2. Done.
Should we just quickly blast through the last bits of chat?
I'm going to blast through the chat because I do need to go.
Hat said, fuck you, that Cactus Iron Brother was very nice. I don't want you to miss that one.
It wasn't. Potato, think I'm more interested in all the upcoming Star Wars shows. We are looking forward to them as well. We did a podcast on that last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that, about what we're looking forward to. So there's no point really repeating ourselves, but yeah, we are looking forward to that.
We're going to come over Lightyear with Star Wars.
I'm looking forward to going out. I can't see what I assume it says going out. I've got a little arrow above the out. I assume it says out. For the first time the board is actually functioning again. I feel like I didn't make the most of it when I had the chance. Literally the same. We're moving to a place where we can go out more often because we're like, we miss this.
Where we live is
and
crap.
Then Ed we're in a crap Brexit kind of fucking country pub area where no one does anything. And it's like we need a bar with a beer that's not Stella or old fat men. Literally,
I've not had that. I've not had that. What percentage is old fat man?
100% gammon. That's what it is.
Banting.
Ed has said, I worked at the EWN head office and they were boasting 100 million profits after last Christmas, so I have no clues where any of that went for the company to plummet so far. I'll tell you where it went, probably into some CEO's fucking wallet, mate. That's where that went. Because,
Hey.
And Mr. Jason, thanks guys, great show. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you,
Yeah,
Mr. J. Thank you so much.
Stopping by, my dude.
And Joe says, thanks for the great stream, guys.
Thanks so much,
Thank you for
everyone.
you guys for joining me. We did a good chat. We have gone on a little bit long, but it's fine, isn't it?
There's been
I've
people
got to go and do
here.
a Zoom quiz now, everyone. There's been
Yeah.
people here the whole time.
We've had a
so
lot
that's
of people here the full time. I've been keeping an eye on the viewers, and I'm like, we've had like 15 viewers at some point.
I was
So
thinking that, yeah.
we're doing well.
Yeah, thank you to everyone in the chat. It's been really nice. And apologies if we missed anything. I was just trying to keep it kind of
Golf,
flowing.
I'm banning you for that.
Well, you can't be. He's had a bev and he's banning.
Promoting it.
Is that more? Is that a 10%er?
Don't you actually ban me? You
Doesn't
sod,
even
'cause you know
even
it gets
mention
rid of
it.
me
Just
mod
pops in the
privileges,
chat,
a
and
pain
I'm
in the
like,
arse.
oh, I'm going to be streaming later.
I'm streaming like now.
Go to streaming like now because we've gone for 3 fucking hours. And
I am.
You're eating into my time.
I mean, you're eating into your own time, to be honest. Mate.
Yeah,
It's true, it's true.
I was going to say, mate, you're the one that talks the most. Calm down.
You're a close second, pal. But you can.
I was gonna say the industry is dying.
It's dying.
On his ass. No one cares.
Yeah, I made a note when you started that rant. You went, "I'm not going to go into the whole story." And you're like, "Right, Disney and Mulan."
That was ages
They're
ago.
not willing.
We've
It's
changed.
one of the little people.
We've changed topic since then. We've changed topic.
It all started with, "I'm not going into the whole story."
No, it didn't. That was a different conversation. I came back round and I ranted, but that wasn't off the back of me going, I'm not talking about this.
Do a poll. There's no
I
time for
missed
a
me
poll.
turning, so I had to go around the whole roundabout again.
No, it was
Let's
a
go to the
later
next jump.
roundabout. It was a later roundabout. It's
Back
fine.
down.
It's fine.
But yeah, thank you to everyone who's been involved in this. It's
Yeah,
really,
thank you so much,
really,
everybody.
really nice to do. We've had a good chat. 2020's been not bad. Not it's been bad, but there's been some good stuff, right? Mainly
Yeah.
Overwatch.
Me,
TV,
always
good films.
Overwatch.
Everyone's. I'm still going to Zoom quizzes apparently.
Oh, Jesus.
Play
Didn't
one.
see that.
Oh my god.
It all went wrong.
That's what I'm looking for.
I put the OBS over the Discord window. That's my bad. I apologise.
Overwatch 2.
What has happened?
Overwatch 2, please.
Electric Boogaloo.
Oh yeah, Overwatch 2 is what we're looking forward to in 2021. That's it. That's all it is.
That's what went wrong. Jeff's hacked the stream to announce Overwatch 2.
Imagine Overwatch 2 just drops the beta on the stream right now.
Oh,
That'd be amazing. But yeah, Guff streaming now. Now? Half an hour?
Well, give me about 5 minutes. I need a wee. So,
I mean,
give me about 5 minutes to go get a wee and drink.
I'll go.
we'll
go.
maybe see you in the chat.
I was gonna say I'll go and raid someone in the meantime. I'll wait in while
Raid someone.
Please.
I'm
gonna
going to the
raid-
Zoom quiz, so I may or may not see people in the chat for that. I don't know.
yeah.
We're gonna raid.
Because it's-
We're gonna raid Mad Kid. He's playing Overwatch with one
still
hand.
going?
Not
I was gonna
Overwatch.
say, don't take
Overwatch.
Don't take
He's-
everyone away.
Good
I'm
wrists.
literally-
Dark Souls
Raid
with one
Brock.
hand.
I was gonna say I'm gonna go on starting soon. You can raid me, mate.
I'm not staying on till then. I'm dying for a Wii, mate. Mate, everyone's gonna come to you anyway.
I'm literally about to do it now.
We're gonna go to Mad Kid for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna come to you. Your internet might not last. It's been crapping out anyway. If you try and start streaming it, the whole thing's gonna go down.
This feels like something we could do
That is
after we've
very-
ended the podcast.
That is very true. That is very true.
Thank you, everyone. Mike, you ready to switch off? Let's go. Bye.
Bye.
Catch it on podcast
Yes.
on Apple.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.
We going?